This young man was a bit startled when he woke up in a somewhat unfamiliar setting. Tran Lak was known as the Void Monarch. He relied on his unrivaled abilities to survive in the post-apocalyptic world, but in the end, he was the only human left among the zombies. But now, somehow, Tran Lak was now back in his bedroom 1 month before the apocalypse. It was as if the whole server had been reset. This time, Tran Lak was going to turn this world upside down. He wanted to build a base and become a leader, so he wouldn't have to be alone again. Just then, Tran Lak received a call from his uncle asking him to come to the corporation. Immediately, Tran Lak's expression turned sinister. He thought to himself, what's coming will come, but this time he would make that son of a bitch uncle pay. As soon as he arrived, his uncle reprimanded him for selling stocks worth over $3 billion for just $1 billion. He even pretended to be worried about Tran Lak. However, the young man's expression showed he didn't care much. That guy is a really good actor. If I hadn't heard from his son Tran Phi in my past life after the apocalypse that he was the one who orchestrated my parents' car accident and had been gradually taking over the corporation's shares my parents left for me, I would have been completely fooled. Tran Lak felt he must have been blind in his past life to see him as a good person. This time, Tran Lak was determined to fight back. Uncle, no one is threatening me. I have a feeling the price of pork is about to skyrocket. 50 ween. A kilogram isn't just a dream, so with my 1 billion, I can buy a lot of pork and turn it into 50 billion. I'm even planning to be bolder. 100 yuan per pound is not out of the question. The uncle was furious, but didn't dare to show it, silently cursing that this idiot must be high. Has he completely lost his mind? However, he didn't dare show it and just kept smiling, trying to persuade him. Little Lak, how about you sell it to me for 1.5 billion? What do you think? Tran Lak flatly refused, saying he had already sold it to someone else and signed the contract. Getting it back from that powerful young master is impossible. Suddenly, his phone rang, and Tran Lak decided to step outside to take the call. The uncle was now openly furious. This damn brat. How dare he do this without a word? To pull such a fast one on me, I have to teach him a lesson. As soon as he answered, the person on the phone said, Mr. Tran, we have found a Chinese native dog with black fur and a torn ear. A photo has been sent to you. Please confirm if it is your lost dog. Tran Lak suddenly froze. After the apocalypse, some bored people had ranked the superpowered individuals of each system. The top of the space system was, of course, Tran Lak. The top of the fire system was Leng Yanji, known as the Red Rose. The top of the lightning system, called the Lightning Dharma King, was a dog. Any creature not turned into a zombie could develop superpowers, but this one was a dog in an apocalypse with no food. How delicious fresh dog meat sounded. Countless people hunted it, but all of them failed except for Tran Lak. He was the only one who managed to eat it. The young man was very familiar with this dog. Just thinking about it made him drool. The identifying mark of this dog was a piece bitten off its left ear. Tran Lak looked at its face and thought happily, Dharma King, oh Dharma King. In this life, let's not be each other's food. How about we become companions instead? I promise to treat you well and share all my delicious food with you. Right after that, Tran Lak decided to go rescue the dog, hoping it would accept him as its master. Before leaving, Tran Lak didn't forget to say goodbye to his uncle, but really it was to see the face of a man doomed to die in the apocalypse. 1 hour later, Tran Lak arrived where the dog was. In its current pitiful state, it showed none of the immense power it would have in the apocalypse. Tran Lak gently bent down and said he would rescue it. Then he called out loudly for the owner. As soon as they met, he aggressively pointed at the dog and accused him of being a dog thief. You dare to steal right from under my nose. And you dare ask what's wrong. If I hadn't found out in time, my hey, I'm afraid would have already been turned into roasted dog meat. The owner thought to himself, this dog is clearly a stray. How could it possibly have an owner? Is he trying to cause trouble on purpose? However, the customer is always right. So he politely replied that all his dogs are sourced from legitimate channels, and sometimes dogs just look alike. So there seems to be a misunderstanding here. Not backing down, Tran Lak took out his phone, threatening to call the police to investigate these so-called legitimate channels. In reality, he knew that every business has its secrets, so no one would be stupid enough to allow an inspection. Just as expected, the owner panicked and even tried to attack Tran Lak, but he had picked the wrong guy. With a body honed by over 10 years in the apocalypse, a brawler like him was nothing. After Tran Lak twisted his arm, he became scared and begged for mercy. He then released the dog that was supposedly Tran Lak's without taking a single penny from him. The plan succeeded more easily than expected. Tran Lak was willing to spend his entire fortune on it, but getting it for free was even better. Tran Lak acted as if they had known each other for a long time and called out convincingly, Xiao Hei, let's go, follow me home. From the dog's expression, the young man felt it might be sentient and could understand human speech. In fact, the dog was smart enough to recognize the man in front of it. Had saved it, so it decided to follow this, made Tranlak very intrigued. It truly was sentient and could be won over. The Lightning Dharma King. Picking up a dog in an expensive supercar is certainly not an ordinary feat. Tranlak continuously petted the dog and named it Dharma King. On the way there, Tranlak wanted to build a good relationship with Dharma King. Tranlak stopped in front of a soldier on duty, and this man was Sudaju in his past life. Before he mastered his space abilities, he had relied completely on Sudaju. He used his own body to shield Tranlak and was ultimately beaten to death, protecting him so he could escape the siege. Tranlak considered Sudaju a good brother in this life. He would make sure he lived well. Tranlak immediately invited Daju to hang out with him after his shift tonight. But Daju flatly refused with the reason, "No, Brother Tran, my mother told me. A man should not learn bad habits. My mom also said if someone is kind for no reason, they're either a crook or up to no good." It was understandable, since in this timeline, Daju and Tranlak weren't close yet. Anyway, Daju would be on duty here until the apocalypse, and then they would surely become good brothers again as soon as he got home. Dharma King's jaw dropped when he saw that even the bathroom was huge. "Dharma King, this is your home now. Come on, I'll give you a bath reborn into a new life." Tranlak didn't want to be as naive as in his past life, where he became the only human left after all. He had a general idea of the future and knew of several powerful ability users. They were exceptionally talented, otherwise they wouldn't have made a name for themselves. Tranlak wanted to go big, establish a base, and gather them under his command, treating them like brothers, just like Dharma King. This would also compensate for the space system's weakness in direct combat. But to build a base, he would need an even more abundant supply of materials. From food, salt fruits, vegetables, and seeds to generators, medicine, and tools, everything was needed, especially water. Tranlak thought that after all, the water sources in the apocalypse were all contaminated. No method could remove the supervirus from the water. The only way to get safe, clean water was to collect rainwater. Thinking about it all gave him a headache. Tranlak also felt he needed to prepare electric batons. Dharma King didn't understand what was going on and looked terrified. It seemed to think the electric baton was for hitting it, but the young man actually wanted it for dealing with zombies. Zombies were afraid of electricity, although the batons would become useless soon after the apocalypse began. But at the beginning, an electric baton was an unparalleled weapon. Combined with some alloy armor, he would be invincible without delay. Tranlak immediately began his preparations. He wanted to choose carefully and place his orders in time. The dog ate as if it had been starving for ages. Tranlak comforted it, saying, "We have plenty more food. I promise you'll eat and drink your fill from now on." Seeing Tranlak spit out a bone, it copied him. It seemed Dharma King was beginning to accept Tranlak as his master. While they were eating, there was a knock on the door. The woman was Ma Yu, the cooking instructor Tranlak had hired. With so much to do, he had completely forgotten about it. He had a class this afternoon, so he cheerfully invited the teacher inside. Ma Yu looked at the young man and thought to herself to spend a whopping 50,000 yuan a month just for cooking lessons. She had originally worried if her employer was right in the head, or if there was something wrong with him. But now, seeing how normal Tranlak looked, she was relieved. With his wealth and looks, how many girls could possibly resist him? Why waste my thoughts on her, regardless of her nonsense? Tranlak was very serious about this cooking class. "I have already prepared all the basic utensils and cooking ingredients in the kitchen. In fact, to prepare for the apocalypse, Tranlak couldn't just have supplies without knowing how to cook. So he spent some money to hire her as a cooking teacher. The first dish was sweet and sour pork ribs, and her salary would be paid in a month. And this seemed to be part of Tranlak's plan, because by then the apocalypse would have started, so he likely wouldn't have to spend a single penny. Tranlak followed the teacher's instructions, chopping the bones into small pieces, putting them in a pan with cold water and adding oil. He was so clumsy that he poured out the entire can of oil. It made the teacher wonder if oil was free for his family. The young man couldn't even tell the difference between sugar and salt. After many failed cooking attempts, this time was an improvement, but it still looked inedible. The young man looked helpless. Even the Dharma King rejected it, so Mangok's consolations were useless. The Dharma King took one bite and became furious, thinking its master was trying to poison it. According to Ma Ngok, at least the kitchen was saved this time. Tranlak realized that he couldn't cook. He could only find a personal chef. Ma Ngok had caught Tranlak's eye. He thought her skills weren't bad. It was a pity they didn't know each other in his past life, and he didn't know what would happen to her after the apocalypse. What kind of person she would become. In any case, being prepared is better than nothing. Oh, Mangok, I guess we'll just have to see what fate has in store for you. I hope things turn out well for you. While looking outside, Tranlak suddenly spotted the two sisters, My Lin and Milap. They were no ordinary people. The older sister, My Lin, awakened the flame ability and became a leader. She was known among flame ability users as the exquisite Flame Rose. Her younger sister, Milap, was even more incredible. She was a light-type ability user, although quite weak in combat. But she was a powerful support. It said she could even use Resurrection later on. Tranlak felt they were a great option. Only children have to choose. An adult like him wants them all. He immediately called someone and gave them a task. I'm giving you 3 days to investigate a pair of sisters for me. Most importantly, find out what they like to eat. As the old saying goes, the way to a woman's heart is through her stomach. Whatever they like to eat, Tranlak would stockpile it. Why would he need to worry about them not listening to him later for the sake of food? Today is May 28th, 5 days before the apocalypse. Tranlak had found out the sisters' preferences. Mi Lin liked Sichuan food and grape juice, while Milap liked to eat fish. Her favorite was braised pork trotters, and she liked watermelon juice. This reminded Tranlak how delicious braised dishes were and that he should stock up on more. On May 29th, 4 days before the apocalypse, Tranlak bought a super cool set of armor for himself. Although it was heavy, it was very safe. He was also thoughtful enough to buy another set for To Die True. 3 days before the apocalypse, Tranlak bought an electric baton. It looked like killing a few zombies with one shock would be no problem. 2 days before the apocalypse, Tranlak generously spent money to buy a card. In a flash, it was June 1st, 1 day before the apocalypse. Even though he knew what was coming, Tranlak couldn't help but feel anxious. He couldn't even close his eyes to get a good night's sleep. I've been reborn once. That damn apocalypse won't actually come tomorrow, will it? If it doesn't come, all the supplies I've stockpiled will be a huge loss. Or maybe it's better if it doesn't come. I'll sacrifice my investment to save humanity. It's a loss, but I'm a millionaire anyway. Isn't living a comfortable life in a prosperous world good enough? Why must I go through a dehumanizing apocalypse? At 8 a.m. on June 2nd, there was about 1 hour and 20 minutes left until the apocalypse. Tranlak called his uncle saying he had something to discuss. Based on my observations, cryptocurrency prices are about to skyrocket maybe 8 to 10 times higher. But as you know, Uncle, I've spent all my money on pork. I want to mortgage all this stockpiled pork to you to borrow about 500 million. My 500 million could turn into 5 billion. I'll definitely pay you back with interest. How about this wait at home for me? I'm coming to your house now to discuss it in person. I miss Cousin Phi too. Ask him to be there, Uncle. The uncle sounded very excited and told Tranlak to come right away. As he got up to leave, the young man thought to himself just as I planned. The apocalypse will also be the day you all die. In the car, Tranlak carefully instructed the Dharma King to wait for him and not wander off. On the way, he saw To Die True. He was standing there nonchalantly, seemingly unaware of what was coming. Although Die True survived just fine in the past life, without his warning, it was still a matter of life and death. So Tranlak still wanted to give him a warning. Hey, Die True, listen to me. When I woke up this morning, I had a really bad feeling like something big is about to happen. After 9 o'clock today, you have to be extremely careful. You absolutely must. Although To Die True didn't understand, he obediently agreed. Meanwhile, Uncle Tran Kien An and his son Phi were waiting and talking about Tranlak. That kid Tranlak wants to invest in cryptocurrency again. He's truly reckless. Let me tell you, son. This sector is booming, but it has no real value. The son insisted, but it's a gold mine. There's no reason not to do it. Tran Kien An was suspicious. That kid Tranlak knows I'm against him, so why would he let me make money? I think there might be a conspiracy, son. Tran Phi replied, I understand. The mentality of crypto investing is just like gambling. He's desperate for money. Who can come up with 500 million in such a short time? That's why he came to us. Just as he finished speaking, Tranlak walked in. The cousin came out to greet him with a fawning attitude. Oh, Tranlak, your cousin is such a coward, otherwise I'd join you. If your crypto investment pays off, then don't forget about your cousin here, okay? Tranlak felt like throwing up, but he had to hold it in and play along. Of course I won't. If I make $1 billion, I'll definitely gift you a supercar. Hearing this, Cousin Phi hugged him and said, ha ha ha, I'll hold you to that. No backing out now. I've already prepared a meal for you. Let's go inside and talk while we eat. It was now 9:15, and as soon as Tranlak sat down, he began to eat like a starving man with no regard for anyone else. While he was eating, a noise came from the maid's room. Tran Kien An told his son to go check. The apocalypse had finally begun. Tran Lak followed, offering to help in case she needed to go to the hospital. Tran Lak thought with certainty, "It looks like you two are really dying today." Upon opening the door, they saw a horrifying, blood-soaked face. Tiu Fi immediately slammed it shut. Seeing this, Tran Lak moved to open it again. "Cousin, aren't we here to check on the situation? How can we see anything with the door closed?" Ignoring his cousin's attempt to stop him, Tran Lak flung the door open and zapped the back of Tiu Fi's neck with the electric baton, knocking him out. "Cousin, don't worry. I won't let you die that easily from an electric shock." Tran Lak thought it would be more interesting for him to be eaten alive. Just then, his uncle ran over yelling, "Tran Lak, what are you doing? I'll kill you." Tran Lak was ready for anything. The moment his uncle approached, he was certain to get zapped. He saw the man cowering and trying to shield himself in fear. Tran Lak laughed mockingly. "Ha ha, what's wrong? You think your body is insulated. It's useless to cover up, you'll still get zapped." Tran Qianan fell, hitting his head on the ground. Cousin Tiu Fi was still alive, reaching out for help. Tran Lak crossed his arms and said bluntly, "Shut up, stop yelling. I don't have a son like you. Your father is over there on the ground." Seeing his father like that, Tiu Fi angrily tried to get up, but the monster bit him squarely on the back. Tran Lak found it interesting feeling that a scene this spectacular should not be enjoyed alone, so he used the electric baton again to wake up his uncle. As soon as Tran Qianan opened his eyes, he saw his son being mauled. He could only cry and beg Tran Lak for help. "Tran Fi is your cousin. Please save him. I'm begging you. I admit I secretly scammed you with your stocks, but Tran Fi knew nothing about it. He's innocent." Tran Lak took the chance to ask what other sins he had committed. The uncle was startled. Why is he asking that? Could it be that he already knows? Tran Lak leaned in and whispered again, "Uncle, think carefully about your answer. Your son can't hold on much longer. He's close to death, yet he's still stubbornly refusing to confess." Tran Qianan threatened to call the police, but saw that Tran Lak was completely unfazed. He screamed in resentment, cursing him as a heartless beast. "Wolf, you dare to kill your own uncle and cousin. You're truly worse than a pig or a dog." Such ill-mannered words were more fitting for him. Tran Lak, disgusted, slapped Tran Qianan. "My father kindly took you in, despite you being useless. He brought you to work at the corporation, and what did you do? You plotted against him. How do you have the nerve to say these things?" At this point, his son was no longer safe. Tiu Fi was about to be devoured whole. Tran Qianan could only reach out helplessly toward his son. "My son, I am his brother, his own flesh and blood. I helped him build the company and put in a lot of effort. And for what? He gave me 10% of the company shares. Was that a charity handout? He deserved to die, and you too. With today's technology, you can't escape." The more he spouted his nonsense, the more it grated on Tran Lak's ears. Based on the current stock value, 10% was already $1.5 billion. What kind of employee gets a whole $1.5 billion in shares? A vicious man like him deserved to pay the price. Just as the zombie finished devouring Tiu Fi, it lunged out and bit Tran Qianan right on the neck. Tran Lak sighed, feeling that his father had truly brought a wolf into their home back then. This was all that a surviving son could do. Looking at the zombie after letting it devour his uncle, Tran Lak gave it a shock with an electric baton. It seems that after becoming a zombie, other than wanting to eat human flesh, they had no interest in anything else. Luckily, while they don't feel fear, they do feel pain, so the electric baton was still effective. Killing them wasn't hard either. You just had to pierce the spot between their eyebrows. It was a bit brutal, but very effective. Moreover, this spot hid a treasure, the crystal. Indeed, it was the early apocalypse, so even the crystals were this low grade. After the apocalypse began, both ability users and zombies would form such a crystal between their brows. The energy in the crystal not only speeds up an awakened person's recovery, but also helps them level up. Generally, it's a valuable treasure. You definitely have to collect as many as possible. The size and color of the crystal depend on the target's power changing according to its strength. Fire-type ability users or zombies have red crystals. Wind types have green crystals, and space types have purple crystals. Initially, Tran Lak had obtained a lightning-type crystal from the Dharma King's head. It was a dark purple, egg-sized crystal. Just as expected, right from the moment the apocalypse began, a newly appeared zombie was spotted by Tran Lak at the gate. He felt a bit of excitement as it charged at him, and after finishing it off, he took its crystal. Dharma King sat obediently in the car, but he watched everything, feeling his master was quite ruthless. Tran Lak walked over and said to him, "Dharma King, I think it's about time we awakened. It's not safe outside. Let's go home and wait. We'll come back out after we've awakened." Arriving home and seeing bodies lying everywhere startled Dharma King. Tran Lak told him to calm down, saying he would get used to it. As the young man sat down to take a bite of an apple, he noticed Dharma King's body was transforming. It seemed he was awakening his ability. After Dharma King awakened, Tran Lak was the first one to experience it, getting zapped continuously for a while. It seemed to be over. The strength of a natural ability depends on two main factors. The earlier the awakening, the stronger it is, and the ability's growth potential. The faster it grows, the stronger it is. Dharma King was definitely a genius with a natural lightning ability, and his intelligence had doubled. Tran Lak felt envious, but also teased that he, a human, was no match for a dog. As he was lost in thought, his own body began to transform. It seemed he was awakening just like Dharma King. The intense pain made the young man clutch his head tightly. Tran Lak felt the agony was just as bad. After awakening, Tran Lak decided to test his power. His first attempt was a bit too forceful. The spatial attack orb used up a quarter of his ability power. Ironically, it couldn't even kill the lowest level zombie. For now, it was better to absorb crystals and increase his strength first. Ability user ranks are divided from 1 to 10, and above level 10 is the king level. Before Dharma King and Lin Dien Ko were both king level. In his past life, Tran Lak was also a king. But after absorbing the Dharma King's crystal, he had ascended from king level to another rank. Tran Lak didn't know what that level was, and its effects were still unclear. The young man felt that without food, drink, fun, or companionship, life was so dull he might as well be dead. At this rate, if Tran Lak absorbed about 20 more crystals, he could become a level 2 ability user. Dharma King still couldn't control his power. He was discharging electricity everywhere. Tran Lak told him to try condensing the power in his throat, hold it, and then spit it out in a desired direction. He obeyed his master's words without question and immediately succeeded. Tran Lak petted and praised him. Now they would head to the cold storage to gather more supplies. Tran Lak pointed towards a supermarket. The world was now full of zombies. So they don't care about food anymore. Dharma King, look at how big that supermarket is. There must be a lot of stuff inside. A thief never leaves empty-handed. We have to seize this opportunity. It's full of good stuff, we can't just leave it for the zombies outside. With that said, Tran Lak and Dharma King decided to enter. First, they put on their armor. Tran Lak told Dharma King to attack when possible, but to be careful. Be flexible, don't be rigid with your attacks. Dharma King understood and coordinated perfectly. Tran Lak went out to clear the zombies blocking the supermarket entrance. One zombie that was missed didn't understand what happened, and Dharma King was also confused. Tran Lak told Dharma King to separate them. He let Dharma King handle things on his own while he went into the supermarket to get things done quickly. As expected of a supermarket in a villa district, it had everything. With all this high-end stuff, you can just indulge yourself. The young man opened his spatial storage and threw in all the necessary items. All alone, Tran Lak zapped zombies while grabbing fruits and snacks. He felt great having a large spatial ability. Nothing beats shopping for free. As he stepped outside, he saw Dharma King running for his life from a zombie. As he ran, he wondered why his master could handle zombies so easily while he couldn't. Tran Lak came out and comforted him, taking out the pursuing zombie with his electric baton. Don't worry, kid, you did your best. Just give it a little more time and you'll be the best dog in the world. He was full of energy after hearing that. Now master and servant were heading to the cold storage. As they were going, a car behind them honked repeatedly and someone shouted, "Hey, car ahead, wait! Do you know what's happening? I can't get through to the police!" Tran Lak calmly replied that it was obvious the apocalypse had arrived. Hearing this, the man got scared and suggested to Tran Lak, "Let's go together, we can look out for each other." Tran Lak replied bluntly, "No need." This made the man furious. After speaking, the young man moved on. Actually, Tran Lak was thinking of recruiting followers, but they had to be elites. So don't blame me for being cold-blooded. Even though I have a lot of supplies, they're not infinite. I have to be careful. He looked around and remembered a shortcut to the cold storage nearby, but it was now blocked by many zombies. Looks like the only way through is to take care of them. He told Dharma King to just focus on dodging and protecting himself. A horde of zombies rushed to attack. The electric baton was a real lifesaver. A few that tried a sneak attack were also eliminated. They even tried to bite from behind. But Tran Lak's armor was made of alloy which low-level zombies couldn't possibly break. Hey, it's the apocalypse. There's no dentist for you guys. Be careful or your teeth will fall out. In the future, you'll only be able to lick, not bite. After saying that, he realized they didn't have a future. Suddenly full of confidence, his damn electric baton ran out of power. Tran Lak's face fell as he started to panic. He thought he was done for, but he had actually prepared meticulously. When one ran out of power, he had a spare. After beating the zombies to a pulp, he collected many items. Dharma King still didn't know where his master was leading him, even though he had clearly said they were going to the cold storage. Tran Lak showed him the heavy-duty truck he had bought beforehand. This heavy-duty truck. This divine weapon is even stronger than the alloy armor and the electric baton. Tran Lak brought it here to use today. Get in the car, I'll take you to broaden your horizons. This car is so damn powerful. The young man just stepped on the gas, crashing through everything in his way, even the warehouse door. Tran Lak found this destruction quite amusing. In front of him were many zombies. Dealing with hundreds of these zombies with the electric baton would be slow and a waste of power, so crashing right into them seemed much faster. Pap Vuong was increasingly shocked by his master's brutality. 3 people standing high above observed Tran Lak's actions and thought this guy was incredibly strong. They figured this heavy-duty truck was much more powerful than the other trucks, in their cold storage. The only girl in the group desperately wanted Tran Lak to take her with him. However, after observing, the man next to her said, "We're not friends or foes. Why would he risk helping you? Is he your father or something? I think this driver is a pretty ruthless person, otherwise what just happened wouldn't have happened. I guess this person knows our cold storage has supplies and came here to move them out. After he's done, he'll just leave without a second glance. It's better to rely on ourselves than others. We should just rob him directly. Having that heavy-duty truck in our hands is the most reliable option." The moment Tran Lak stepped out, they saw he was wearing a suit of armor. Now they were discussing that if they could get Tran Lak's equipment, they would be safe. "What do you two think? We'll rob him. This guy wants to steal supplies from our cold storage. We can't let that slide." The girl decided to go out and talk to Tran Lak while the young man was busy picking up essence crystals. "Thank you for clearing out the zombies here and saving us." As soon as he heard these words, Tran Lak was certain they wanted him to take them along. Just as he finished asking her how many survivors were here, he saw 2 men looming behind him, holding him by the shoulders so he couldn't move. Oh shit. They were just thanking me, and now they turn on me in an instant. And they even made the first move. Tran Lak felt that life was a joke. Harsh circumstances truly twisted human nature. Kindness was the most worthless and harmful thing in the apocalypse. They started asking where the dog in the truck came from, as it didn't look infected. Tran Lak smirked because he was sure he didn't need to worry this time. His spatial ability was revealed, then he immediately pulled an electric baton from his spatial storage for the 2 guys. He gave each of them an electric shock to the chest. After all, dead men tell no tales. The girl who witnessed this scene was terrified and begged Tran Lak not to kill her, but the young man didn't listen to a word. "What's wrong? Have you no shame?" She immediately ran off, screaming for help. Tran Lak thought the girl was pretty fast, so now he had to rely on Pap Vuong. Obeying its master, it immediately rushed out and bit the girl's back, making her fall over. Tran Lak immediately zapped her with the electric baton. I told you it's always better to strike first. Now that the obstacles were gone, Tran Lak could confidently go on a big shopping spree. The young man gathered everything in the warehouse from spices, seafood, chicken, duck, pork, knuckles, and organs to vegetables and produce. After finishing everything, the achievement was collecting over 60,000 tons of supplies. This was truly a jackpot. Today, the young man decided to go home and rest first. Then he would go to the grain depot to start another big shopping trip. Tran Lak was very curious about how Dai Tru was doing. While driving, a man kept waving his hand, asking him to stop the truck. "Master, please give me a ride for a bit." Tran Lak glanced over and saw the man was hiding something under his clothes. Most likely his intentions weren't good. Tran Lak's survival rule was to never ignore any threat, no matter how small or negligible. That's why he wouldn't allow it. The young man continued to speed on with no sign of stopping. The other person kept waving relentlessly. "Hey, stop the truck, master! I told you to stop!" Stopping at a time like this was impossible. If he dared to block the road, Tran Lak would probably run him over. He just watched as Tran Lak sped past. He yelled out in frustration, "Damn it, are you trying to run me over? You just wait. If I get the chance, I'll teach you a lesson." Unfortunately, Tran Lak heard his muttering. Well, then he brought this on himself. Normally, holding a grudge would just mean bad-mouthing someone, but this was the apocalypse. After awakening abilities, anyone had the chance to land a fatal blow. It could be deadly. Tran Lak was a bit too lazy to act himself, so he turned to provoke Pap Vuong, trying to piss it off. "Pap Vuong, did you hear what he said? He said he wants to eat dog meat." The problem was, while Pap Vuong didn't understand everything, it was pretty sure the man never said dog meat. Still, it had to obey its master. Phap Vuong opened the car door and charged out regardless of whether you wanted to eat dog meat or not. Master said you must die, so you must die. Then it shot a spark of electricity straight at the man. It sent him into violent convulsions. From inside, Tran Lak directed, "Don't just use your lightning power, Phap Vuong. In a fight, if you hesitate, you'll get yourself killed. Only by adapting to the apocalypse can you survive safely." Phap Vuong obeyed and lunged forward, biting the man's neck. And it was doing exactly as its master wanted. After it was done, the two of them left. "The roads in the villa area are too narrow. This truck probably won't fit." Tran Lak told Phap Vuong to get out and distract the zombies first. He would park the truck and follow. Quick as a flash, Phap Vuong jumped out and barked loudly to taunt the zombies. Later, when Phap Vuong escapes back, the zombies will still be able to return. By that time, they will be free security guards for Tran Lak's truck, so he won't have to worry about anyone stealing or damaging it. Luckily, Tran Lak's rebirth didn't cause any major changes. Dai Tru didn't turn into a zombie, so he should still be safe. He remembered that in his past life, when the apocalypse broke out, he had hidden in the villa area, apparently by climbing a wall to get inside. It was a villa, but unfortunately, Tran Lak couldn't remember which one Dai Tru had hidden in. He only remembered it was one in the outer area. It seems he'd have to use the old-fashioned way. The young man walked while shouting loudly, "Dai Tru, can you hear me? Where are you?" Phap Vuong also felt helpless because such a loud noise would attract zombies. Its master, Tran Lak, stubbornly kept calling out Dai Tru. "If you can hear me, answer me." Fortunately, Dai Tru heard Tran Lak's voice and recognized it was Brother Tran. However, the woman next to him stopped him. "Dai Tru, don't go over there. That guy is crazy. He's not even afraid of attracting zombies. If he wants to get himself killed, fine. But please don't drag us down with him." Dai Tru thought it made sense. Still, it was strange. With Brother Tran's intelligence, how could he not know this was dangerous? "Why is he using this method to find me?" Tran Lak kept shouting, "Can you hear me, Dai Tru? Don't be afraid." Dai Tru still decided to open the door and see what was going on. However, before he could go outside, he saw a horde of zombies running chaotically towards Tran Lak. The young man took the opportunity to zap them with his electric baton. After witnessing this, Dai Tru was full of praise. The girl next to him was also scared out of her wits. The power of that electric baton was immense. If they had one for protection, they wouldn't have to fear zombies anymore. No wonder he's so bold. Dai Tru confidently revealed himself and called out, "Brother Tran, I'm over here." As expected, Tran Lak was very happy that Dai Tru was okay. However, seeing Tran Tin standing next to him suddenly ruined his mood. "Damn, how could I forget that green tea bitch? She's a very scheming person. In the past life when there wasn't enough clean water, she was afraid tap water was dangerous. So she used Dai Tru as a guinea pig to test it. After Dai Tru and I teamed up, she tried all sorts of ways to show her affection. To both of us. When sharing food, she would always hide some first, then act pitifully hungry to trick Dai Tru out of a portion, wrapping him around her finger. Tran Lak felt that if she dared to be so shameless in this life, he shouldn't be blamed for using her to teach Dai Tru how dangerous people can be. Tran Lak cheerfully told Dai Tru to come home with him so it'd be easier to coordinate. Tran Tin took the chance to cozy up "Hello, Brother Tran. I heard Dai Tru mention your name earlier. I'm Tran Tin. We have the same surname. Who knows, maybe 500 years ago we were from the same family." She's already starting with the flattery. Then she said that the situation was urgent, so they all had to leave quickly. No one even invited her, but she is tagging along so eagerly. Tran Tin thought to herself, "I have to make this Tran Lak guy like me more. With these two guys protecting me, I have a much better chance of surviving until the government rescue arrives." Just as Tran Lak had predicted, he already knew what Tran Tin was like. She was always calculating how everything could benefit her. The moment she stepped into Tran Lak's house, she thought, "Oh my God. This villa from its location to its surroundings is clearly way better than the one I used to live in. If I can wait for the government rescue here, and also get Tran Lak wrapped around my finger, wouldn't that be killing two birds with one stone?" Seeing that to Dai Tru seemed hungry, Tran Lak said he would get food for both of them. Tran Tin took the chance to thank Tran Lak profusely. No one is stupid enough to make the same mistake twice. Tran Lak swore in this life he would not let this manipulative bitch take advantage of him. As he was about to open his spatial inventory, Tran Lak glanced at Phap Vuong. At that moment, he came up with a dirty little trick to get back at Tran Tin. "Heh, in my past life you made me and Dai Tru suffer so much. Adding a little special ingredient for you now should be fine, right?" He immediately went over and vigorously rubbed the bread on Phap Vuong's butt. Then he casually arranged the bread on a plate and brought it out, offering it sincerely. "This is all I have left in the house. Please make do with this, everyone." Being a kind person, To Dai Tru was very worried for Tran Lok and even told him to keep some for himself. Knowing this, Tran Lok had already set aside 2 pieces of bread for To Dai Tru, while the girl Tran Tin only got 1. She is a girl with a small stomach. 1 piece should be fine for her, right? She put on a great act, eagerly replying, "Yes, yes, okay." But deep down, she was sighing in frustration. How the hell am I supposed to get full with just 1 piece? But oh well. Anyway, if To Dai Tru eats his fill first, he will have the strength to find food for me. As soon as Tran Tin took a bite, she felt the bread tasted strange. It tasted like it had gone bad. Meanwhile, Phap Vuong watched from a distance as the girl ate the piece of bread that was rubbed on his butt. He felt nauseous for her. That bread was wiped on my ass and she dares to eat it. Damn, she is disgusting. Witnessing this scene, Tran Lak felt incredibly excited. Although messing with this bitch was fun for the sake of the future, I should quickly expose her true colors and then get rid of her. The situation now is that there are zombies everywhere and food is scarce, so Tran Lak figured they needed a way to get to the supermarket by the gate for some supplies. True to his character, To Dai Tru stood up and volunteered. "Brother Tran, let's go. I will cover you. You can rest easy with the electric baton as long as I hold them down. The zombies won't be able to touch a single hair on your head, but that plan is no good. A fully charged electric baton can only kill about 4 zombies." Tran Lak saw his opportunity. He wanted to use this opportunity to teach Tran Tin a lesson she would never forget. I have already checked it out. There are way more zombies at the community supermarket. I have a much better idea. Hey, little sister, you have a small frame, so you must be a fast runner. You can be the one to lure the zombies away. Dai Tru and I will go into the supermarket for supplies. Then we will meet back at the villa. Hearing this, Tran Tin's face turned pale and she broke out in a cold sweat. The truth is, she would never dare to do something like that. She turned around and started playing the damsel in distress. "Brother Tran, I have been weak since I was a child. I can't run fast at all. Asking me to do that is like sending me to my death." Tran Lak seemed unfazed and asked bluntly, "Then what the hell can you do?" "Fine, I will lure the zombies away while you and Dai Tru get the supplies." "That should work, right?" Still using her weak voice, Tran Tin replied, "Brother Tran, it's really not that I don't want to. It's just that since this morning I have only eaten that 1 piece of bread you gave me. I'm afraid I don't have enough strength. I would just end up being a burden to you both." Tran Lak insisted that she couldn't just do nothing. He and Dai Tru would not be risking their lives while she just sat back and did nothing. Tran Tin froze, not knowing how to deal with this. "What's wrong with this Tran Lak guy? Why is he so insistent on making me work? Isn't taking care of a woman the right thing to do? Don't you know how to be gentle with a lady at all?" Realizing that it was difficult to persuade Tran Lak by begging, she turned to beg To Dai Tru instead. Not letting Tran Tin play her games, Tran Lak immediately interrupted. "Ahem, I haven't had a single sip of water since this morning. My throat is about to catch fire. It is my fault I didn't prepare some bottled water. As for the tap water, I don't know if it's contaminated now." Taking this opportunity, he wanted to give her a taste of her own medicine. "How about this, Tran Tin, you go test it for me. After you test it, I won't make you go anymore." Tran Tin's mind was in turmoil. She was annoyed and still calculating. Is he treating me like a guinea pig? Damn it, because I am afraid the water is contaminated. I haven't had a single drop of water yet. She was so selfish that she still had a water bottle in her backpack, but because To Dai Tru was always nearby, she didn't dare drink it. She was afraid he would ask her for a sip. So she decided she would rather be thirsty than share with others. This led to Tran Tin, who was dying of thirst, to continue with her pitiful act. "I can wash clothes and take care of daily chores for you two, Brother Tran. Please don't make things difficult for me, okay?" Then she turned to look at Phap Vuong. "Oh, that's right. We can have it test if the tap water is safe to drink." Phap Vuong, who was just chilling, was horrified when it heard that. "I may not be human, but you are a real bitch. Telling me to test it. What a bitch. I have to bite you for that." Just like that, it lunged at Tran Tin. She instinctively used her backpack to block it, and Phap Vuong bit right into it. The backpack ripped open and a dozen items fell out. Tran Lak saw this. He bent down to pick things up and praised her. "You have a lot of good stuff, huh?" he thought to himself. So that's why she was holding on to that backpack so tightly. She was hiding food and water inside. I bet she was waiting for us to leave so she could have it all to herself. A disgusting person like you really gets on my nerves. Then he picked up a can of water and casually started drinking. He also took some other items and gave them to Dai Tru. Heh, looks like I am hungry too, so I will help myself then. Dai Tru, you are not full yet, right? Here, take this and eat up, then we will go get supplies. Dai Tru's face darkened and he felt some resentment. This morning I had to risk my life over and over again to save her, and yet she could lie to me about not having any food, when she clearly did. That means she never intended to share with me from the start. Then I am done with her. Seeing this, Tran Tin rushed forward recklessly, screaming, "Don't eat that! That is mine! Put it down now, give it back to me!" Immediately, Tran Lak tripped her, causing her to almost fall flat on the ground. Tran Tin looked up and complained, "You two are men and you are bullying a girl like me, and you still call yourselves men." Tran Lak ignored her and finished his drink. "Why don't you go ask the zombies if they care whether you are a man or a woman?" But this alone isn't enough for Dai Tru to fully grasp her true nature. I have to be even meaner to Tran Tin, finding her crying an eyesore. Tran Lak bent down, smiled, and continued his plan to expose her. "What are you crying for? We need to eat our fill to have the strength to find supplies, right? You don't have to go this time. Since we ate your food, we will pay you back double when we return." Tran Tin heard this and thought it was reasonable. She figured that for now. We also can't just turn against Tran Lak and Dai Tru. The girl crossed her arms and relented. "No, it was my fault. It is just that I almost starved to death as a child, so I had that kind of reaction. I am sorry, Brother Tran and Brother Dai Tru. I didn't mean what I did just now." Tran Lak heard this and thought she is really good at making up stories. Whatever listening to her lies would take all day. Tran Lak turned to Dai Tru and said, "To Dai Tru, let's head to the supermarket at the gate in a little while. Wait for me to prepare a little. You two can just relax." After saying that, Tran Lak went over to Phap Vuong and instructed it. "Phap Vuong, go out and lure some zombies. Bring about a dozen of them back here for me." After hearing this, it thought its master was delirious. It understood the luring zombies part. But what the hell did he mean by bring them home? Tran Lak didn't want to explain yet and just told it not to worry about it. "You will understand when you get back. Now go quickly." For Tran Lak, the real show was just about to begin. He brought out a bowl. The strong smell of garlic was so overwhelming that Tran Tin had to pinch her nose. Dai Tru asked Tran Lak why he was making so much garlic water. Tran Lak just smiled and replied, "You two probably don't know. Earlier, when I was coming back from outside, I saw someone copying what they do in the movies wearing a large string of garlic. I saw with my own eyes that the zombies were so scared they kept backing away and didn't dare to take a single step forward. It looked like everything was falling into place. Unfortunately, reality and movies are complete opposites. The pungent smell of garlic smeared on someone is even more attractive to zombies." Tran Lak continued to taunt them. But unfortunately, there wasn't much garlic in the house, only enough for 2 people. "When we get to the supermarket later, we'll have to see if we can find more garlic." Then a loud noise came from the door. Tran Lak listened for a moment and asked, "Did you two hear that? It sounds like a horde of zombies is getting closer." Tran Tin's face turned pale, not understanding what was happening. Tran Lak was extremely curious about how she would react to this horde of zombies. Would Tran Tin choose to face them together, or would she snatch this so-called life-saving garlic water? The noise grew louder and louder, and Tran Tin became increasingly terrified. "This is bad!" This sound, it must be the iron gate being broken. To set the trap, Tran Lak acted convincingly, even pouring a bowl of garlic water on himself. Then he urgently told Dai Tru to use the remaining bowl. Dai Tru looked at Tran Tin, hesitating. Even though he disliked her, she didn't deserve to die. The number of zombies this time was clearly massive. "If I use up all this garlic water now, won't she die?" Before she could accept Dai Tru's kindness, Tran Tin's greed erupted. 1 bowl of garlic water left meant only 1 more person could survive. Without hesitation, Tran Tin snatched the bowl and poured the garlic water all over herself. This act made Dai Tru despise her even more. "I was going to give you that bowl anyway." At that moment, Tran Lak explained, "See her true colors now. Dai Tru in the apocalypse, don't be kind to just anyone, because some people are no longer worthy of being human." Tran Tin then realized in horror that she'd been tricked. "Tran Lak, you dared to trick me." Tran Lak replied bluntly, "Did I trick you or did you walk right into it? Did I hold a knife to your throat and force you to pour garlic water on yourself? Let me tell you the truth. Zombies are extremely attracted to the smell of garlic. You're a dead woman." Tran Tin was in complete shock and panicked more than ever. "No, that can't be true. Tell me it's not true." "I just wanted to live. What's wrong with that?" Tran Lak answered bluntly. "Nothing but taking advantage of and bullying a kind, honest person is wrong. especially when that person is my brother. To use your own words, if we all get to live, what's wrong with sacrificing you? Tran Lak decided to take off the armor that was covered in garlic water. Then he tossed it into his spatial storage. Tran Tin was about to die. Dead men tell no tales. As for to die true, Tran Lak would tell him the truth about his awakened spatial ability. Tran Tin still couldn't believe she had been completely fooled. One trick after another. Armor. So you were prepared all along. No wonder you dared to pour garlic water on yourself. Tran Lak turned and told To Die True to find a room and hide, because To Die True would only get in the way here. At this point, Tran Tin could only kneel and beg, resorting to playing the damsel in distress. Brother Tran, please spare me this one time. I'll do anything you want from now on. Tran Lak said bluntly, I want you to die. I'll spare you after you're dead. Just then, the zombies broke into the villa. Tran Tin cursed Tran Lak in frustration, but it seemed this would be the last time she would ever curse anyone in her life. You with the surname Tran, what did I ever do to you? Why have you been targeting me since the moment we met? As she finished her sentence, the smell of garlic on her body drew the zombies who rushed in to tear her apart. She was finally bitten to death. After it was all over, Tran Lak realized something. It seems I miscalculated. My home for the past 10+ years is pretty much ruined. Just then, To Die True came out still confused, but Tran Lak stopped him. Hold on. To Die True. There's no time to get emotional. This house is so filthy. There's no room to even stand. Help me move these bodies outside. Half an hour later, night had fallen, and they had finished cleaning up. All the bodies were thrown outside. Tran Lak was completely exhausted. If only I had a maid, he thought. Then someone could help me clean up the bloodstains. As soon as the thought crossed his mind, he remembered Ma Ngok. She was a perfect choice, beautiful and efficient. He just didn't know if she was still alive. After a moment, he decided to dismiss the idle thought. It didn't matter whether Ma Ngok was alive or not. For now, let the apocalypse toughen her up first. That way, it'll be easier to recruit her when the time comes. But the urgent task now is cleaning up all this blood, which I really don't want to do. But I can't just stand by and watch if I make To Die True do it. So Tran Lak's only remaining option was the Black King. Let's just go with it. He bent down and gave the Black King an overly friendly smile. My dear Black King, watch closely. This is how you get water. You have to wash the rag like this to get it clean. This floor is all natural hardwood, so you have to wring it out completely, sweetie. In short, the entire task of cleaning the house is up to you. You can eat only after you're finished. The Black King's face was the epitome of helplessness. Such is the life of a dog getting bullied for nothing. It could only curse its fate, thinking, Master, you're even more of a dog than I am. Meanwhile, To Die True was worried they didn't have enough supplies. So he asked Tran Lak to go to the supermarket to find some things. That's when Tran Lak revealed that the supermarket near the entrance only had junk. There's no need to rush because he had something much better. He then invited To Die True upstairs for a meal, revealing a lavish spread of food. It left To Die True speechless. Did all this food just appear out of thin air, Brother Tran? What is this? Seeing To Die True's confusion, Tran Lak explained, Die True, have you felt any changes in your body? To Die True thought about it and realized that after a headache this afternoon, his physical strength had increased significantly. Tran Lak revealed that he had actually experienced that kind of change before the apocalypse. If To Die True's change is a strength-type ability, then Tran Lak's is a space-type. Tran Lak explained further, I suddenly discovered that I could control some spatial power. Plus, I had a feeling some kind of disaster was coming, so I stockpiled some supplies. To Die True stammered, seeming to understand a little. Tran Lak felt this explanation was less absurd than revealing his rebirth, and it would be easier for To Die True to accept. He finished pouring a can of beer. Tran Lak handed it to Die True and said, I also have a feeling we're going to be good brothers. Come on, don't overthink it. In the grand scheme of things, eating comes first. To Die True was still hesitant, feeling it was wasteful. There's too much food here. He wanted to put some away, saying 2 or 3 dishes would be enough. Tran Lak figured that if there were leftovers, the Black King would take care of them. After all, he hadn't eaten anything yet. Hearing this while cleaning, the Black King was touched. Let alone leftovers. When I was astray, I was happy just to have rice water to drink. Thank you so much, Master. However, looking at his current situation, the Black King started wailing. Was cleaning the house really a dog's job? After they finished eating, Tran Lak gave To Die True some crystals and told him to absorb their energy as it could increase the user's power. Increase rapidly. After hearing they were dug out of zombie brains, To Die True froze. Now they were both going to their rooms to absorb the crystals. Tranlok also reminded To Die True to stop immediately if it became unbearable. He also told him not to call him Brother Tran anymore, just brother was fine. Back in his room, as he absorbed the crystals, Tranlak thought to himself, strange. Based on my experience from my past life, absorbing 8 crystals at once should have been enough. But now I've absorbed 20. Right on the 20th crystal, he felt a throbbing headache and seemed to have leveled up. What's going on? In my past life, it took me a full 14 days to level up. It's only the first day of the apocalypse and I've already reached level 2. Tranlak was at level 2 of his spatial ability. Furthermore, he felt he could still absorb more crystals. He was extremely curious to find out what his limit was this time. So he decided to test his limits. So far, Tranlak had absorbed 42 crystals. Not only that, but he could also condense a void blade. Although he could only maintain it for 5 seconds in his past life, he couldn't manifest the void blade until he was level 7. Based on the current progress in his past life, he had to reach level 9 to control the void sword, but maybe in this life, he might be able to barely use it at just level 4. Tranlak leaned back, imagining wonderful things, and also the dimensional blade that required king level to control. Maybe he could unlock it earlier too. Just thinking about it made the young man feel amazing. As soon as he woke up, To Die True continuously praised Tranlak's method, saying it was really effective. I feel my strength has increased a lot after absorbing about 7 crystals. Dharma King also took the opportunity to flex its achievement. It barked loudly 9 times with an extremely happy face. Turns out it had eaten 9 crystals. Although it was impressive, Tranlak felt lucky it wasn't 99 crystals. Otherwise, he wouldn't know when it would stop barking. To Die True looked at Dharma King for a while. I can't believe a dog ate more than me. Just then, Tranlak revealed, don't look down on Dharma King. Its talent is pretty high. You try on this armor. After breakfast, come with me to the grain warehouse. As soon as the two of them went outside, they saw a bunch of zombies wandering around the pickup truck. At some point, Tranlak had started seeing them as free car guards. Just as To Die True was about to deal with the zombies, Tranlak stopped him and said, don't, they're all free labor. We can just let Dharma King herd them away. Then seeing Dharma King charge into the fray like that, To Die True praised endlessly. What a brave puppy, not afraid of danger or hardship. To Die True even felt that this dog, Dharma King, was more useful than him. Seeing Die True looking worried, Tranlak waved his hand and said, don't compare yourself to a dog. There are things it can do that you can't. Everyone has their own strengths. To Die True looked surprised because what in the world could a dog do that Tranlak couldn't? After hearing the answer, he was truly shocked. That's right, it dares to eat poop, do you? While busy dealing with the zombies, Dharma King heard those unflattering words and immediately turned back to protest. Woof woof, that's slander, I don't eat that. Finally, they arrived at the grain warehouse. Tranlak found it very strange. The staff at this warehouse wasn't small. There must be some survivors, even though they had made such a loud noise. They didn't hear anyone crying for help. Die True figured the warehouse had a basement, and it seemed like everyone was hiding down there. That's why they didn't. Hear the vehicle. As soon as he got out, Tranlak saw the entrance to the basement, and they decided to go check it out. After just a few steps down, they found a skeleton in a crawling position. However, there wasn't a scrap of flesh left on it. Normal zombies, when eating human flesh, are definitely messy and wouldn't have picked it this clean. Could it be that some small creature in the warehouse has mutated? I wonder if it's ants or rats. However, both of those species live in swarms, so there would definitely be a large number of them. Tranlak felt he couldn't risk it. It's fine if we leave empty-handed. Staying alive is what matters most. Suddenly, a squeaking sound echoed, and they saw a swarm of rats rushing towards them. Tranlak urgently yelled for everyone to run. However, Dharma King seemed to want to confront the rats. Tranlak reminded it to be careful as many rats were chasing them. Because they are craving human flesh. Human flesh is the tastiest charge. A rat lunged and bit Tranlak's back, knocking him down. Holy crap, in a situation like this you can't hesitate. To Die True was also being swarmed by rats. They started fighting back to back. Let these rats taste the electric baton. Luckily, the electric baton was enough to electrocute them to death, but that one rat was clearly a mutant. In fact, whether it's survivors, zombies, or mutated creatures, their strength increases gradually. But there will always be individual mutations that can burn their life potential to make their strength skyrocket. Although their growth is immense, their lifespan is also shortened. But running into one of them is a total disaster. It's like stepping in dog poop, just incredibly unlucky. Seeing To Die True fall, the rat saw its chance and lunged. Dai Tru quickly pointed his electric baton at it, thinking it would be enough to kill it. But it had no effect and seemed useless. The rat continued to lunge, biting at Dai Tru's neck. It looked like one more bite and the armor would be pierced. Seeing Dai Tru in danger, Tran Lak wanted to help, as this Rat King was at least level 3, maybe even level 4. There was no ordinary way to kill it quickly, especially while surrounded by so many other rats. If Tran Lak hadn't broken through to level 2 last night, he would surely be dead by now. The Rat King looked at Tran Lak, thinking that Baton could never threaten it. It silently warned Tran Lak that after it finished off Dai Tru, it would be his turn to be bitten to death. As for Tran Lak, his only hope now was the Void Sword. I can only condense it for a few seconds. The young man rushed forward, activating his power. At this range, there's no escape. Taking this hit, not even its ancestors could save it now. After finishing it off, Tran Lak picked up the crystal. This crystal was huge, and so was its incisor. Tran Lak felt he wasn't strong enough. We should ask Dai Tru to check again and see if he can pull it out. After a great effort, the two collected the giant Rat King's tooth. They continued deeper into the basement. Dai Tru was now extremely curious about how large Tran Lak's special ability space was. Tran Lak took the chance to flex. It's not that big, only about the size of this grain warehouse. Dai Tru, the fact that I've stockpiled so many supplies, you absolutely cannot let it slip to anyone, okay? Remember, no matter who it is, don't tell them. Dai Tru promised that even if he were beaten to death, he wouldn't reveal the secret. Suddenly, the basement went dark as if the power had gone out. They needed to hurry to get home. It was getting dark, and they finally made it back. Tran Lak turned to Dai Tru and said, Dai Tru, that Rat King today was too dangerous. For now, I think it's safer for us to stay home and level up. Based on my current crystal absorption speed, it'll take at least 3 days to reach level 3. If you get bored at home, you can use this to play games. Or watch movies. After speaking, Tran Lak handed Dai Tru an iPad. 3 days later, they had used nearly all the clean dishes in the house. Tran Lak looked at Dharma King and sighed, I wish you knew how to do the dishes. Dharma King looked back at its owner, speechless with indignation, and could only curse silently. If you're my master, at least act like a decent person. These past 3 days of just eating and lazing around had made Tran Lak feel drained. While chugging a bottle of water, he asked Dharma King, I remember you hit level 2 yesterday, right? Realizing its master had noticed its miraculous achievement, its eyes lit up. The young man continued to praise it. There's a saying, a good dog succeeds without even trying. Go outside and practice on some zombies. See if you can develop any new lightning-type moves. As soon as the praise turned into a task, Dharma King dejectedly started to leave. Just as it reached the door, Tran Lak called it back, filling it with hope again. I don't have to go anymore, right? Or is he worried about my safety and wants to give me some advice? In reality, it was dreaming. Its master had called it back to take out the trash. He really wasn't letting a dog be a dog anymore. As it carried the 2 trash bags outside, Tran Lak sighed in disappointment. You really make me worry. When will you learn to clean up and take out the trash on your own? You're a grown dog now. If I don't tell you to do things, you won't do them voluntarily, huh? Even Dai Tru felt that Dharma King was pitiful and had been reincarnated into the wrong life. Suddenly, Tran Lak remembered Manhwa. He now felt he desperately needed her to take care of his daily life. I remember she lived in the staff dormitory of a 5-star hotel. It's nearby. All right then. Once I reach level 3, I'll go check on her immediately. While resting in bed, Tran Lak had a breakthrough. In his past life, this breakthrough took him half a month. But now it only took 3 days. Tran Lak was now officially a level 3 ability user, Dharma King. You should be glad you're following me in this life, because now I don't have to ambush you like I used to. The duration of his Void Sword also increased from 5 to 20 seconds. He could finally carry it around. We'll set out to find Manhwa at dawn. We can also restock on a large number of crystals, which is great. On the second day, Dai Tru and Tran Lak decided to go out to find Manhwa. They went to the staff dormitory. Just as they were zapping a few zombies with an electric baton, someone opened a door. He was the hotel attendant, Lou Von Bach. He kept screaming for help. Big brother, save us, save me. Tran Lak felt lucky. He'd been clearing this hotel for half an hour and finally found a survivor. The young man turned and asked, Do you know Manhwa? After hearing this question, the attendant nodded repeatedly and said he knew her. She's in that room, but she's not there right now. On the morning of the disaster, there was a business conference, so she was called away to prepare food. After he said that, Tran Lak lifted him up and made him lead the way. Meanwhile, Maangok was being terribly bullied. Lam Wai Ni, a rising star, was constantly yelling, "I told you to move over there. Didn't you hear me? Believe it or not, after we're rescued, I'll file a complaint and get you fired." The hotel manager sitting beside them was also intimidated. Maangok Lam Wien Hai is our hotel's VIP guest. Just listen to her and move aside. Maangok felt it was already too cramped, so she didn't want to move even an inch. "There's really no more room. I'm a survivor too. I need my space." As soon as she finished, Lam Wen I grabbed Maangok by the hair. "You dare talk back to me? Do you even know who I am?" Li Lam, a business tycoon, felt the remaining food wasn't enough for everyone. He said if Maangok didn't obey, they would throw her out. Everyone inside, including the hotel manager, agreed to throw Maangok out. "You see, there really isn't enough space here. For the sake of the group, we'll have to ask you to make a sacrifice. Try running to another place." Maangok disagreed because it was full of zombies outside. She wouldn't know where to run. Without letting her say another word, they forcefully dragged her out. Lam Wai Ni crossed her arms smugly. "This is what happens when you cross me." The moment she was outside, she saw zombies everywhere. Maangok told herself not to cry. "Hold it in. I can't cry and become a joke for that bunch. I'm so furious. If only someone could deal with all of them. I'd be willing to pay any price," but then again, she felt she'd never get the chance. Then a horde of zombies began to charge at Maangok. All she could do was cry in frustration. How ridiculous. I saved a bunch of people only to be killed by them. Just at her most desperate moment, Tran Lak appeared to save her. "Maangok, it's me, Tran Lak. You've taught me before." Seeing Maangok, Tran Lak was overjoyed. At least the chef isn't dead. It seems I'm lucky when it comes to food. Tran Lak thought to himself, I risk so much to come here. Aren't you moved by this? Just dedicate yourself to being my chef. Maangok looked up and thanked Tran Lak repeatedly. However, this wasn't the time for talk. First, he wanted to clear out all these zombies. We can reminisce later. To Die True and Tran Lak coordinated to destroy the zombies with electric batons. Lam Wai Nai's group watched from inside through a window. They were overjoyed. We're saved. After holding out for 5 days, we're finally saved. After the zombies were eliminated, the group emerged and repeatedly thanked the 2 heroes who saved them. Hello, you two. I'm Lam Wai Nai. It's a pleasure to meet you. As she greeted them, she thought to herself, it'd be great if these 2 were my fans. However, Tran Lak quickly sensed that something bad had happened to Maangok. He turned to her and asked, what happened? Let me handle it for you. Maangok was still fuming. Tran Lak, it's just, why did I even bother saving them? After hearing her, Tran Lak sighed. This is why it's so hard to be a good person. The hotel manager came forward with an offer. Hey, brother, could I trouble you to take me home? After this crisis is over, come work for my company. I'll pay you 200,000 a month. Tran Lak bluntly replied with an ice-cold tone. So you think money makes you all-powerful? I hate people like you who repay kindness with malice. To Die True couldn't stand it either and immediately slapped the man so hard he went flying and spat. The hotel employee who witnessed it was scared out of his mind. These 2 have some serious guts. These are all important, influential people. Aren't they afraid of revenge? However, given the dire situation, they didn't lecture him but immediately swallowed their pride and pleaded. Look, you've already gotten revenge for your friend. We were wrong, but if you can just get us to safety, you can ask for anything. In the apocalypse, Tran Lak allowed himself to follow only one principle. If you are my enemy, then whenever I have the chance to kill you, I will absolutely not pass it up. Tran Lak turned with a bright smile and said, even though you all offended my person, don't worry. I'm not going to kill you. I'll just tie you all up. Whether you live or die is up to fate. At this, the manager started pulling rank and threatening them with the law. His words were so grating that To Die True had to retort, well, when you threw her out, did you think about the law then? Lam Wai Nai knelt and begged repeatedly, please save me, I'll agree to anything. This flirtatious attitude only disgusted Tran Lak. Oh, this woman. The moment things look bad, she tries to seduce someone. Get lost. I hate dirty things. With that, the young man tied her up tightly with a rope. But Lam Wai Nui was still up to her old tricks. She put on a damsel act. I haven't bathed in days, so it's unavoidable that I'm a little dirty. You could give me a bath? You talk too much, it's giving me a headache. Tran Lak stuffed a rag in Lam Wai Nai's mouth to shut her up. Then he left, leaving them to fend for themselves. Only the hotel employee remained who frantically ran after them wanting to go with Tran Lak. The young man turned and asked the employee, what do you have that makes you worth keeping? Then Tran Lak handed the employee a club and gave him a challenge. Go kill 10 zombies on the street and I'll take you in. Who would dare do that? But if he didn't do it, Tranlac was determined not to accept him, so Tranlac couldn't let him join the team. But he still showed some kindness. "I'll give you 3 minutes to pick out some supplies, then I'll escort you back to the dorm as a thank you." Tranlac then turned to make a direct offer to Mongok. "My group needs a logistician. We don't have anyone to cook. I just happened to think of you. I'd rather go kill zombies than wash dishes or scrub pots. I guarantee you'll be safe and well-fed. I won't treat you poorly either. And I'm not bragging, but meeting me is the luckiest thing that's ever happened in your life. So what do you say? Will you come with me?" With such a good offer, who wouldn't agree? Mongok nodded eagerly. "Welcome to the team. After I take that guy back, we'll go home and have a proper celebration. And of course, you'll be cooking." As soon as they got home, Tranlac asked Mongok about space and powers. "What I just told you is my and True's special ability. What about you? During these 5 days, did you feel anything or awaken any special abilities?" Mongok held her head, trying to remember, and realized that on the 3rd day she did have a slight headache. But she wasn't sure about any powers because she was always hungry and didn't pay much attention. Tranlac smiled and replied, "Awakening an ability on the 3rd day may not be the best, but it's certainly not bad. Now follow my instructions and slowly try to feel the energy in your body." Mongok then closed her eyes and a flame appeared in her hand. Tranlac was extremely surprised and delighted. Fire food cooked with a power user's flame is incredibly delicious. So she's a super chef too. I've really found a treasure. Half an hour later, Mongok had prepared a sumptuous feast. The food smelled incredible. A professional chef's cooking really is on another level. Both True and Tranlac had a feast like they'd never had before. This tofu is so soft and fresh. Finding Mongok was definitely the right move. After they finished eating, Mongok cleaned up all the dishes. Tranlac felt he had chosen the right person. He told Mongok to leave the dishes and not to worry about cleaning. "Let's go see your room now." He then told her that for the time being, they would stay home to level up their abilities. Tranlac said he would explain the specific leveling methods later. A few days later, Tranlac finally reached level 3. At this rate, he figured it would take another 10 days to reach level 4. He felt he should go out to gather more crystals and also find the 2 sisters, Mi-Lin and Mi-Lap, to complete the team. 10 days later, Tranlac wondered if they had already experienced the hardships of the apocalypse. "Although now is not the best time to recruit them, I should go check so someone else does not get to them first. After all, it is a healing ability. It would be a crime not to have someone with such an ability on my side." Tranlac decided to go out with True to collect crystals before leaving. But he did not forget to instruct Mongok while we are not here. "You are not to open the door for anyone. No matter who it is or what excuse they use, even if someone is dying in front of you, you must not open it. Keep the windows shut tight, do not stick your head out, and definitely do not go outside. If anything happens, it is on you." After saying that they went out by now, it was getting dark. After a session of feeding the zombies electric batons, they had collected about 500 crystals. Tranlac stretched, feeling that this was good enough for now. He remembered the Hua sisters lived in the residential area just ahead, so he decided to go and check on them. According to his memory, they lived in building 3-room 201. Tranlac bent down and ordered Fa Vuong go up to room 201 and sniff to see if anyone is home. Fa Vuong felt that this was the first time it got to do a real dog's job. However, after sniffing for a while, it started growling angrily and barking loudly. It turned out it had found a white cat. Because it was being bitten by Fa Vuong, it was crying its eyes out. Tranlac thought the cat was so cute, he wanted to take it home as a pet. He went over and told Fa Vuong not to hurt it. Suddenly, as he got closer to the cat, Tranlac heard a human-like voice. "Sob, sob, get this stupid dog off me." Tranlac realized this cat had the ability of telepathy. What an unexpected treasure. I have to have it. He put his hands on his hips and scolded Fa Vuong for being rude, then picked up the cat. It seemed they only had to look into each other's eyes. The cat and Tranlac could understand each other's thoughts. I did not provoke it. I did not tease it. That dog just bit me for no reason. I am so pitiful. Tranlac thought back in response. Yes, yes, you are so pitiful. The cat continued to use telepathy, asking, "Do you have any dried fish?" "I can feel that you have some." Tranlac was completely surprised. How did it know? On what basis? But I do not mind feeding it. After all, once it eats my food, it will be my cat. While he was petting the cat, a girl appeared on the floor above. She shouted, "Let go of my Mi-Fan." It turned out she was Mi-La, and this cat Mi-Fan was hers. However, in his past life, Tranlac had never seen this cat. He had never even heard the 2 sisters mention it. Mila came down looking angry. You give Mi Fan back to me. Tranlak felt this trip was already more than worth it. Mila came down and snatched the cat, then looked at it lovingly and apologized. It seems the two sisters Mi-Lin and Mila are not together right now after all. If Mi-Lin were here, she definitely would not have let her sister risk coming down alone. After snatching the cat, Mila turned to leave abruptly. But the cat kept struggling. Let me go. He has dried fish on him. I want to eat dried fish. He has dried fish. He is not a bad person. The cat struggled continuously and ran down. Then it ran back to Tranlak, looking at him with sparkling eyes. Mi Fan has not had dried fish for over a week. Please give me one. Tranlak wanted to use this opportunity to win over the younger sister. He bent down and told the cat, the shopping mall out there definitely has dried fish. Let me take you. Do you guys want to team up to find supplies? Before Mila could answer, the cat answered for her. Yes, I can sense that this person has no ill intentions. He can be trusted. Mila was still hesitant. Seeing this, Mi Fan got annoyed and clung tightly to Tranlak. Then you do not have to go. I will go with him. You just stay home like always. Wait for me to bring food back for you. Mila heard all of the cat's thoughts and relented. No, that is not okay. I will go with you all. Wait a moment. I will go upstairs to get some things. When Mila came back down in a different outfit, she curiously asked about the people who would be accompanying her. Tranlak introduced them. This is my brother to die true. In game terms, he is equivalent to a warrior, and this dog is my partner. His name is Fa Vuong. He is a lightning-type mage. You can call him the Lightning Dharma King. Mila was extremely surprised. A dog that can shoot lightning, it seems Mi Fan is not the only one with special abilities. Tranlak also introduced himself as someone with abilities equivalent to a space-type magic user. Then he turned to ask Mila. She answered shyly, I think you already know. Mi Fan has the ability to communicate with others. My name is Mila. The special ability I suddenly gained is equivalent to a priest. While they were still greeting each other, a group of zombies ran over Mila, said she could help boost everyone's strength a little after receiving Mila's energy. Tranlak felt his strength rise to a new level. She might only be level 1, but she could already increase Tranlak's strength by about a third. All right. Tranlak told everyone to stay back so he could charge forward. However, Mila volunteered. No need. I have never fought a zombie before. This zombie is perfect for me to practice on. Sooner or later, I will have to do this anyway. Weak on the outside, but strong on the inside. No wonder she could survive until the end. But the power of a rolling pin was limited, so Tranlak told Dai True to give the club in his hand to Mila, closed her eyes, telling herself not to be afraid, encouraging herself that she could do it. Then she took the club and smashed it straight into the zombies. Tranlak, watching, was surprised at how brave this girl was. After killing the zombies, the girl vomited nonstop. Tranlak brought her some water to drink. Meanwhile, that greedy cat Mi Fan could not stand its craving for dried fish any longer. It thought angrily, so slow, when are we going to find the dried fish? On the second floor of the shopping mall, they felt they had already harvested quite a lot from this floor. Tranlak told Mila to go get a bag. Take as much as you can carry. The young man turned to look at the cat. He felt the ability this cat had awakened was probably not just a simple mental power. After all, this special telepathic ability was not something a low-level mental power user could control. Tranlak thought that such a rare cat he definitely had to keep a firm hold on. He decided to entice it with dried fish again. Come back with me later, I will make you dried fish. The gluttonous Mi Fan immediately wanted to go back upon hearing about food. Behind Mila, a zombie was approaching. Fa Vuong immediately got agitated. Woof, 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 danger. She turned her head and saw a huge zombie standing behind her. Mila unfortunately tripped and fell. The zombie roared continuously. So hungry, let me eat you. The girl scrambled to run away, but ran right into Tranlak, who was standing in front of her. Tranlak sighed as he encountered another mutant. This zombie's appearance looked like a devourer. Common in his previous life, in his memory, their strength was immense, their defense was good, they could use projectile attacks, and they could self-destruct. Looking at its physique, it was probably level 3. Tranlak told Mila, do not be afraid, I am here. The young man activated his strength skill. Seeing a good opportunity, he immediately attacked, slashing straight at it. Unexpectedly, just one strike was enough to finish it off. However, its corpse was so disgusting that he did not want Mila to see it. The girl who had just pressed herself against Tranlak's chest thought, he can kill this terrifying monster with a single slash. He is so cool. This scene is just like something out of a romance novel. After being saved, the damsel is taken by the hand by the hero to escape the danger zone. When Mila opened her eyes, she found she was safe. She was still overwhelmed by how cool Tranlak was. Their eyes met, and then Mi-la turned away out of shyness. Tran-Lak was very puzzled by this reaction. Anyway, he never expected the appearance of this devourer to have such an effect. The hero saving the damsel in distress might be cliché, but it is still very effective. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the young man suggested, Mi-la, let us form a team from now on, so we can support each other. Having fallen into the love trap, how could she refuse? After getting her agreement, Tran-Lak continued to persuade the girl to come to his place. We have also collected quite a few crystals. Come to my place for a bit to get acquainted and have a meal. However, Mi-la was still hesitant because she had to wait for her sister. If her sister came back and did not find her, she would be very worried. How about I go after my sister returns? Mi-fan was drooling and seemed unable to bear the craving for dried fish any longer. It kept pleading with its owner. Sob, why are you refusing? Cannot you just leave a note? Mi-lin will see it and will not be worried. Besides, I have a feeling Mi-lin will not be back today. Also, he said he would make us braised fish. That is fish, no matter what you have to go today. I want to eat fish. This darn cat, really, because of it. Mi-la reluctantly agreed. Upon arriving at Tran-Lak's house, both Mi-la and the kitten were surprised. How could a place have so much delicious food at a time like this? After eating, Mi-la still insisted on going back, afraid her sister would arrive and not find her. However, Tran-Lak did not quite agree. It is very dangerous outside, and it would not be good to let Mi-la go back alone. The young man then came up with an idea. It doesn't matter where I live, so how about die true Manhwa and I move in with you? Tran-Lak's main purpose was to wait for that fire user. He added, I think no one is living next to you, so it'll be easier for us to look after each other if we move there. Mi-la agreed without a second thought. This isn't about looking after each other. It's obviously you Tran-Lak who is taking care of me. Just like that, they made their decision. Tran-Lak immediately told everyone to pack up and get ready to move. When they arrived at Mi-la's house, she made an offer. Why don't you all just stay at my house? My house has 4 bedrooms and 1 living room, just enough for us if you don't mind. Tran-Lak was secretly ecstatic as this was a perfect opportunity for him. After reaching an agreement, they entered Mi-la's house. The thoughtful Tran-Lak even prepared fruit for dessert, making Mi-la grow fonder of him. The world outside was incredibly dangerous. But Tran-Lak not only protected me and fed me, he brought light into the darkness during the blackout and even gave me my favorite watermelon. The girl couldn't hold back her emotions and rushed to hug Tran-Lak. Brother, I feel that meeting you and my sister is the luckiest thing that has ever happened to me. Tran-Lak was at a loss for words. His charm was too powerful, he couldn't help it. It was a pity he had only just met Mi-la today. If he rushed things, he would ruin everything. The young man remained composed. He said, from now on, we're all friends. Helping each other is the right thing to do, so there's no need to be so formal with me. In reality, Tran-Lak was just trying to maintain his composure while being hugged so tightly by a pretty girl. His lecherous side was almost revealed. He said, but I still have a watermelon in my hands. Are you sure you don't want to eat some first before hugging me? Mi-la suddenly realized what she had just done and her face flushed red. She then led everyone on a tour of the rooms. She introduced a room for Ma and Gok where her friends used to stay over. Then she showed them her sister's art studio, explaining that a bed could be put in there to make it a bedroom. This room would be for Todai True. She also played favorites, choosing her sister's room for Tran-Lak. However, the young man's biggest concern was about staying in Mi-lin's room. Where would Mi-lin stay when she came back? After a moment's hesitation, he decided to just stay first and worry about it later. Suddenly, Tran-Lak remembered he had forgotten something. He then took out the crystal cores and gave them to Mi-la. After teaching her, he told her to go back to her room and give it a try. He also returned to his room to rest. The moment he walked in, he saw the cat lounging on the bed looking utterly blissful. Damn it, why are you here? This gluttonous and perverted cat jumped up and clung to Tran-Lak's arm. Tonight, I'll sleep with you. Tomorrow, I'll sleep with Mi-la. Tran-Lak was at a loss for words. So you even know how to be fair, huh? What a naughty cat. Well, let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Today, I'll bestow my favor upon you. Now let's cultivate together. Meanwhile, Mi-lin was facing a horde of zombies. Her 2 cowardly classmates, Truong Chan and Vuong Tan Vo, were constantly hiding behind her. This was getting on Mi-lin's nerves. You two, can you stop hiding behind me all the time? Unable to hold back her anger, Mi-lin threw a punch and released a burst of flames. Her flame energy was already severely depleted. Even after reaching a level 2, she couldn't continue fighting so many zombies. In the midst of the battle, she suddenly thought of her little sister and began to worry. It's already this hard for me to survive. How is my fragile little sister supposed to manage? Has she starved to death at home already? Or did she get eaten by zombies while searching for supplies, seeing her standing there in a daze? The two cowardly classmates thought Mi-Lin had finished off the zombies and asked which way should we go next. A dazed Mi-Lin pointed forward and said, "Go. This way, we're almost there." Her heart was still in turmoil. "Milak, I left you a piece of chocolate, so you have to survive. You must hold on until I get back." Mi-Lin had no idea her sister was living like a queen at home, eating well every day. Today, Tran Lok had even planned a barbecue for them. Manhwa confidently announced, "I might not be a first-class chef, but my cooking is definitely not worse than what you get at a restaurant. I'll start preparing now. Just tell me what kind of meat you want. However, grilling creates a lot of smoke, so we can't do it inside the house." Tran Lok suggested they go grill on the rooftop. Suddenly, Mi-Lin's voice echoed out, "Mi-Lok, are you there?" Upon hearing this voice, Mi-Lok happily recognized it as her sister's. The second most excited person was Tran Lok because Mi-Lin had finally returned. The two sisters were clearly very close. However, they also saw two unfamiliar men with them. Those two looked at each other thinking the older sister Mi-Lin is the campus belle. I didn't expect her younger sister Mi-Lok to be just as pretty. Our long journey back from the university with her wasn't in vain. They were already planning on how to conquer the two sisters. As the sisters Mi-Lin and Mi-Lok were joyfully looking at each other, the guys noticed Tran Lok. They wondered who this man was and why he was with Mi-Lok. They'd never heard Mi-Lin mention having a brother. Before her older sister could ask, Mi-Lok introduced him. "Sister, this is brother Tran Lok. While you were gone, I've been safe because brother Tran Lok took care of me." The older sister looked at her sibling for a moment and felt relieved. After all, Mi-Lok looked very healthy. It seems he is indeed being taken care of much better than those two classmates. They felt that Mi-Lin had been cold and distant the whole way, making her hard to approach, whereas her younger sister was so pretty. They decided to make their move and shifted their target to Mi-Lok. Truong-chan spoke first. "Little sister Mi-Lok, you must be hungry, right? I have some bread here, take it and eat." Vuong-tan-vo, not wanting to be outdone, quickly chimed in. "Little sister Mi-Lok, don't be shy with us, I have sausages too." The two cowards were now competing for her attention. Mi-Lok, however, seemed uninterested. The girl flatly refused thanks, but I'm really not hungry. You two can keep it and eat. Tran Lok could see right away that these two guys' intentions were painfully obvious. Mi-Lin felt that it wasn't safe to keep talking downstairs. She told everyone to come up to the apartment, thinking to herself, "What was I thinking bringing these two troublesome guys with me? I can't let them get my sister and me into trouble. After we finish eating, they can just go their own way." Truong-chan and Vuong-tan-vo were still drooling, fantasizing that they were about to live with the campus belle. They even fantasized about living with both of the sisters. Upon entering the apartment, Mi-Lin asked, "Is there any food here?" Tran Lok thought to himself, "Of course there's food, but you won't get any unless you agree to join me." He then asked Manhwa if they still had any rice. "Let's cook some. After all, she's Mi-Lok's sister, so it wouldn't be right to be stingy. Just making some rice for them will be enough." Manhwa turned to him with a questioning look. "Weren't we supposed to be having a barbecue?" Then she saw the group and immediately understood. Tran Lok also reminded her, "Don't wash the rice. It's a waste of water." The two guys came in and started looking around nosily. They were so rude they even tried to wander into the kitchen. Upon seeing Manhwa pouring water for the rice, Tan-vo rushed over and started chugging it. Truong-chan also pretended to be very thirsty. He demanded she give him some water, too. Manhwa found their behavior so shameless and annoying that she snapped, "Can't you pour it into a bowl to drink? If you drink straight from the container, what's everyone else supposed to do with the rest of the water?" The two guys started complaining. "Do you have any idea how hard it was for us? What's the big deal if we drink a little of your water? Try to be a little more understanding. It won't happen again." Tran Lok decided these two definitely couldn't stay. They began to whisper as expected of the campus belle's place. It's not only spacious, but also very stylish. But it's a pity another guy is here that really spoils the mood. Suddenly, Truong-chan pointed at F.A. Wang relaxing on the floor. They couldn't believe their eyes. A dog is still alive and well like this. And it's not even infected. The two of them started imagining a satisfying dog meat feast, their faces filled with greed as if they were plotting against F.A. Wang. Pointing towards F.A. Wang, Truong-chan said, "In times like these, it's hard enough for people to survive. Why are you still raising a dog?" Next to him, Tan-vo agreed, "What are you going to do when you run out of rice?" Hearing them scheme against it, F.A. Wang immediately jumped down growling, looking ready to pounce and tear them apart. He added, This dog is too aggressive. I'm worried it might hurt Lin and Lak. We'd be better off killing it. You guys just sit back and wait." Hearing this, Lak couldn't stand it any longer. He got up and cursed at them. "I don't have any spare food here for the 2 dogs standing in front of me." After saying that, he told them to get out. Truong Chan arrogantly sneered and asked, "Hey kid, have you ever fought a zombie alone?" He added, "You're just a coward who only knows how to hide indoors. Just because the tiger isn't roaring, you mistake it for a Hello Kitty." Not only that, he turned to Lin and complained that they had faced so much danger on the way here, with her struggling just to survive, and yet someone here was raising a dog. That scumbag Tan Vo added that they had already starved and suffered on the road. "Can't we have a 7-course dog meat feast to improve our meal for once?" At this point, Lin couldn't take it anymore and spoke up. "Don't you know perfectly well what evil intentions you had and how much effort you put in?" Her delicate face tensed. "Let's stop here. From now on, we'll go our separate ways. I invite you two to leave immediately." The 2 scoundrels' faces turned pale. They called her heartless, kept rambling, and even lied about protecting her on the way, helping her find her sister. How shameless. They hid behind Lin the entire way, and now they stand there bragging. Unable to win the argument, they said she was beautiful but vicious. Lin accepted the insult, saying that if they were done scolding her, they could get lost. Unable to do anything else, they left resentfully. They didn't forget to turn back and curse that Lin's group would regret it. As soon as they left, Lak patted the Dharma King's head and said, "Let them get a little farther. It's a pain to clean up the bodies nearby." Understanding its master's intention, the Dharma King knew what it had to do. Seeing the little dog run out the door, Lin wondered if it was running after them to get itself killed. The 2 lowlifes walked and cursed the Mi sisters, even plotting to harm them both. The Dharma King, standing behind them, couldn't stand it anymore. It thought, "Right this bunch of bad guys. I'll handle them cleanly." It then barked a few times in their direction. Unaware of what was coming, the 2 scoundrels even looked happy to see the Dharma King. They even thought they'd get to improve their meal tonight. Without letting them say another word, the Dharma King used its magic, shooting a bolt of electricity at them, giving them no time to react. It dealt with the 2 of them cleanly. The Dharma King turned and walked away. With just that little skill, they wanted to eat dog meat. Truly trash. Lin hadn't eaten rice in a long time and ate several bowls in a row. Lap stood beside her, telling her to eat slowly as there was still plenty. After eating her fill, Lin turned to Lak and said, "I may have eaten a bit much, but rest assured it's not hard to get food here." As if waiting for that, he called for more food to be served, fearing she had eaten everyone's share. Lin immediately turned blushing and apologized. If there wasn't enough food, she would go find more. Lak said it wasn't necessary and turned to tell Ma and Gok to prepare food, but no more grilled stuff. He sat there and casually listed off a menu: tofu, cabbage, potatoes, boiled pork, chicken, shrimp, crab, beef, not forgetting to order tomato and egg soup, leaving Lin sitting there completely astonished. Ma and Gok said that much. Food wouldn't be a problem, but it would take a while to prepare, about an hour. Lak stood up and said that was fine. "Take your time preparing it." Then he turned and called to Lap. "Come with me. I need to talk to you privately." Lap obediently followed while Lin watched with suspicion. A man and a woman acting all mysterious, going into a room together. What on earth are they planning to do? In Lap's room, Lak placed both hands on the wall, cornering the small girl against it. This made her blush bashfully. He said, "From now on, follow me, and you won't have to worry about food anymore." He moved his face close to hers and added, "Don't you feel very safe with me?" Not feeling scared at all. In this situation, Lap felt like she was burning up from standing like this. It was really too close. Lak's eyes were roguish. He asked her if Lin would listen to him like she did. She thought for a moment. For someone strong-willed who didn't know Lak well, she definitely wouldn't listen to him. Lak then asked, "Between me and your sister, who could lead everyone to survive better?" "Of course it's you, Lak," she answered softly. His gaze was direct. "So you must make your sister listen to me." The look on their faces was quite funny. One was naive. The other looked like a rogue who was also afraid of being too evil. Lak was serious. "You must make her submit to me, see me as the leader. Otherwise, if a conflict happens at a critical moment, it won't be good." He looked very experienced. Lap obediently said, "I understand." "I will definitely make my sister listen to you," Lak added. "Until your sister submits to me, I won't share any supplies with her. So later, she can only watch us eat." He added reassuringly, "The moment she listens, she can eat. We're doing this for her own good." Lap was completely manipulated. In the kitchen, a table full of sumptuous food was laid out, ready to be cooked. Lin saw it and was shocked. "Why are you making so much food?" How are we going to live for the next few days? Ma Ngok replied, Tran Lak told me to cook. How much I cook is my decision. She ignored Mi Lin standing there. Knowing she couldn't influence Ma Ngok, Mi Lin turned to find Tran Lak to talk. Mi Lin questioned Tran Lak. You told her to make so many dishes. If we eat it all today, what will we eat tomorrow? Tran Lak replied, Today you two sisters are reunited and Mi Lap is very happy. Of course we have to celebrate a little. Mi Lin thought this was too wasteful. But Tran Lak insisted, This is my stuff, don't meddle. Looking at the table full of food, she thought to herself that she had eaten too much earlier and was still too full to eat anymore, smelling the fragrant food but not being able to eat. It's so frustrating. An hour later, the food was served on the table. Mi Lin wondered why there were only 4 bottles of water for 5 people. Is it not enough? If so, I won't drink soda. I'll just drink the soup. Everything was ready. Ma Ngok called everyone to eat. Sitting at the dining table, Tran Lak looked at Mi Lin. What are you doing sitting here? Mi Lin angrily replied, What's the difference where I sit? Mi Lap sat beside her, not daring to make a sound because she had agreed with Tran Lak that this was for her sister's own good. Tran Lak's face remained stern. We are eating. It's not quite appropriate for you to sit here. If you want to sit and watch us eat, then you can stay. Mi Lin was startled and said loudly, What do you mean? Is there no share for me here? Hearing she couldn't eat, Mi Lin was a bit shocked and sulky. He clearly said it was a feast to celebrate the two sisters' reunion, yet he wasn't letting her eat. Tran Lak laughed loudly. It's true I said we're having a feast, but I never said you could eat with us. Besides, the 3 people with me are my people. That's why they get to eat the delicious food that I risked my life to bring back. Tran Lak turned and asked Mi Lap, Are you my person? The young girl nodded. Yes, I am your person. Tran Lak then turned to Dai Tru and Ma Ngok. It was obvious. One had gone through life and death with him, the other was a life-saving benefactor. Living with him, they didn't have to worry about food or clothing, living like kings. Why wouldn't they be his people? Even the dogs and cats have to claim their owner. In this house, only Mi Lin is an outsider. He's really pushing it. Tran Lak smiled smugly and dangerously. These are all people who have shared hardships with me. What they receive is what they deserve. He turned to Mi Lin and asked who she was to have the right to eat with them. Unless you also show that you will listen to me and brave dangers together, then you can. Before Tran Lak could finish, Mi Lin, furious, said, You want to humiliate me like this over a single meal. Slamming both hands on the table, she stood up and shouted, Don't push me too far. Then she turned and walked away. I, Mi Lin, don't need your charity handouts, she thought to herself. What's one meal? There's definitely a scheme. Tran Lak ignored her as she walked away. Tran Lak continuously served food to everyone, intentionally speaking loudly to provoke Mi Lin even more. Serving people was one thing, but he even served fish to Mi Lap, making Mi Lin even more furious. She was bitter, but could do nothing about it. The only thing she could do was go to her room. As she walked away, she still turned back to say loudly, I'm going to my room. How could she stay in this house after being treated like this? As she opened the room door, she saw something that made her jump, and her face turned purple with anger. It turned out she saw the male lead's underwear and screamed loudly. Mi Lap, you've got some nerve, daring to let a man stay in my room. Peeking from outside, Mi Lap said innocently, I forgot to tell you, sister. While you were away for a few days, Brother Tran Lak stayed in your room temporarily. But don't worry, he's very gentle and chivalrous. He didn't mess with anything, swallowing her anger out of consideration for him taking care of her sister. She would let him have this room. Mi Lap added, Brother Tran Lak said we can shower as long as we don't let the raw water get into our mouths. If you feel uncomfortable, you can go take a shower. Mi Lin nodded and told Mi Lap to go back to eating. Taking off her clothes in the bathroom, she felt all alone in this house. In the steamy bathroom, Mi Lin's incredibly alluring figure was revealed. Truly, the belle of the university, a real feast for the eyes. She thought to herself, did my little sister really sell me out for food? Even while showering, she couldn't stop thinking about what happened earlier. How could a small refrigerator hold so much food? Tran Lak, go ahead and show off. We'll see who has the last laugh. After her shower, she put on a very sexy and alluring white bikini. Outside, Tran Lak's voice could be heard speaking loudly. Today after dinner, we'll have grapes for dessert. Hearing there were grapes, Mi Lin wavered a little. After getting dressed, she wondered to herself how they could have so much fruit to eat. And it just had to be grapes, her favorite fruit. Wearing a sexy, flowing pink dress, she was fighting an internal battle, having not wanted to eat for days. The grapes are probably frozen, not fresh and tasty. I don't want them. Outside, everyone was happily eating grapes. Mei Ling looked out, called Mei La over, and said, "Mei La, come to my room with me." Chen Luo saw Mei Ling and thought she was truly worthy of being the school's beauty queen. She had the looks, the skills, and a really sexy body. It was enough to get anyone worked up. Chen Luo said provocatively, "Mei La, hurry up and come back soon. These grapes are very sweet. I'll save some for you." This made Mei Ling even more furious. Chen Luo then held up a bunch of grapes and ate them with the skin on just to be annoying. He deliberately did it right in front of Mei Ling. He's definitely doing this on purpose. As soon as they entered the room, Mei Ling grabbed Mei La's hands and pushed her onto the bed. "You've got some nerve, Mei La, siding with an outsider to provoke your own sister." Their position was surprisingly suggestive. Mei Ling raised a finger and started tickling Mei La's armpit. "So what's the deal? Why didn't you stick up for me back there?" Mei La laughed hard. "This is so embarrassing. Stop it, I'll talk. We've actually become a team." She added, "To avoid conflicts at crucial times, we all tacitly agreed to make Brother Chen Luo the leader. Brother Chen Luo was afraid you wouldn't listen, so he did that on purpose. He talked to me about it beforehand, and I thought it made sense." Mei Ling was suspicious. "Have you been brainwashed or something? So gullible at your age." Mei Ling sat up. "If he's capable enough, of course I'll listen. But for him to use such a dirty trick. Does he think he can make me submit with just one meal?" Mei La felt sorry for her sister, but there was nothing she could do. "What do you want to do then?" "Continuing to be stubborn like this won't solve anything," Mei Ling said decisively. "If he wants me to listen, he has to prove it with his strength," she said with her hands on her hips. "I'll fight him. We'll see who gets the last laugh." She changed out of the sexy dress into a much tougher outfit and walked out the door. Mei La asked, "Where are you going? I'm not about to eat that guy's food." "So obviously I'm going out to find my own." A little worried for her sister, she looked back and forth between Chen Luo and Mei Ling. "It's so late," she said. "What if you get into trouble?" She turned to Chen Luo, pleading, "Brother Chen, my sister wants to go out. Please try to talk to her." Chen Luo replied, "Sorry, Mei La, I have no reason to stop your sister. However, if you're worried, have her take Mei Fan along. He can predict any danger in advance." Yi Meng pouted. "Isn't it better to just stay with Chen Luo? Women are such emotional creatures." For added safety, Chen Luo also had F.A. Wang follow her. F.A. Wang wasn't happy about it either, having to go out and suffer in this heat. Mei La wanted to go too in case her sister needed help. Chen Luo agreed, reminding her to be safe and take the stun baton. The whole group, one person, one cat, and one dog, went out to follow Mei Ling. Chen Luo sat there and chuckled. He knew he shouldn't have used such a method either. But in his past life, Mei Ling had caught him taking food and kicked him in the butt, a grudge he's held on to until now. He's really the type to hold a grudge. Kicked in the butt in his past life, he was determined to tame her in this one. However, Chen Luo knew he couldn't keep this up. He had to seize the opportunity to win Mei Ling over. About 10 minutes later, Mei Ling came back with a pack of instant noodles. "Looks like we're having beef noodles tonight. It's not as good as your food, but I'm satisfied." Chen Luo chuckled to himself. Someone who didn't know better might think her noodles actually had beef in them. Then he turned to Ma Yu. "I'm in the mood for beef noodles too. Let's make some." Hearing that Mei Ling glared at Chen Luo, he thought tonight she'll see what real beef noodles taste like. He smiled at her. "Mei Ling, don't be so hostile toward me." He then added, "Let's talk." She agreed, curious to see what he could possibly say. As they sat at the table, Chen Luo suddenly apologized to Mei Ling. "I was a little out of line this afternoon." Hearing Chen Luo apologize, Mei Ling was suspicious. "This isn't some new trick, is it? What are you playing at?" He replied, "My apology is sincere. I was wrong earlier. But as long as you don't acknowledge me as the leader, I can't share the supplies with you." He added, "The leader position requires both strength and strategy. I'll prove to you that I'm superior in every way. Let's start with strength. In 3 days, we'll fight. If I lose, I'll do whatever you say from now on." Mei Ling was delighted. "You sound very confident." But still skeptical, she asked, "Are you for real?" Chen Luo laughed. "Of course I'm serious. What's there to worry about?" Mei Ling asked. "Why in 3 days? Why not today? Why not fight right now?" Turns out Chen Luo was afraid he couldn't control his powers yet and might accidentally injure her. In 2 days, he would break through to level 4. "My control over my powers will be more stable then," he added. "Besides, right now, you can't even beat F.A. Wang, let alone me." Mei Ling got angry, looking a bit cute. "Damn you. You're saying I can't even beat a dog," Chen Luo added sarcastically. "Okay, fine. You're stronger than F.A. Wang, okay?" Being compared to a dog, she felt utterly humiliated and furious. Suddenly, F.A. Wang growled toward the window, startling both Chen Luo and Mei Ling. There was a knock at the door. "Mei Ling, Mei La, are you home?" The voice outside continued to call Mei Ling. "I saw you came back. Please give me some food. I haven't eaten in 2 days. Please, just a little food." Mei Ling walked to the door saying, "Haven't eaten in 2 days, so that means you ate 2 days ago, right?" Chen Luo wondered how she could reply so casually. At the door, Mei Ling said, "We don't have any food either. Go away." Mei Ling turned back to Mei La and warned her, "Remember, no matter how much we give her, she'll eventually run out, and when she does, she'll just come back for more." Chen Luo stood by, watching Mei Ling instruct her sister. "It's already difficult enough for us to survive on our own. This is survival of the fittest," which made him remark, "Mei Ling, you have a very sharp understanding of things." Being praised, Mei Ling looked very confident. "Stop with the nonsense. In 2 days, we'll see where all that confidence of yours comes from." "The confidence to beat me." Chen Luo was not to be outdone. "My pleasure." The cat rubbed against Chen Luo's leg. "I think that woman just now had bad intentions." Chen Luo picked it up. "All right, I know. Whatever her reasons are, if she dares to come here, she won't be leaving." The one who knocked a fat, middle-aged woman was now walking down the stairs, muttering to herself. "I can't believe that Mei Ling is so heartless. It pisses me off." Downstairs, 5 strong young men were waiting. One asked, "Are you sure Mei Ling is home too?" The old woman replied, "She's home, I just spoke with her." The group huddled up. "I saw Mei La is home too, with 2 men who came through the neighborhood." The men started talking about taking the 2 sisters for themselves. With perverted thoughts of being lady killers, the group grabbed their weapons and headed for the house. The old woman added, "In a minute, I want you to give them a good scare for me." Upstairs, Daju saw the group talking through the window and looked over at Chen Luo. "Brother, we've got company with weapons. They don't look friendly." Chen Luo patted Mei Fan's head and said, "Go down and deal with them. Don't let them die inside the building. Otherwise, we'll have to clean up the mess." Daju grabbed the stun baton. "Okay, bro." Mei La quickly gave Daju a small power boost. Daju opened the door. "I'll be right back." Just then, F.A. Wang rushed over, barking a few times as if to say, "Me too." He also wanted to go handle the bad guys. Chen Luo stood upstairs watching the situation unfold. Meanwhile, Mei Ling stole a glance at his profile, startling herself and blushing. She looked a bit longer and thought, "The closer you look, this guy is actually quite handsome." Besides, she also wanted to see if 1 man and 1 dog were really as powerful as they seemed. The 2 stood side by side near the window looking down below. Hearing F.A. Wang's loud barking, they actually looked like a pretty good couple. A voice shouted from below, "Hey brothers, look, we're eating dog meat tonight!" As he spoke, the 5 young men surrounded Daju while F.A. Wang barked relentlessly beside him. The moment one of them spotted Daju, he was hit with the baton and sent flying. Seeing their buddy get knocked down, the others panicked a little, but one of them calmed them down. "Don't panic! Let's all charge him! We'll overwhelm him!" Daju stood still, letting them wail on him freely. It had no effect on him whatsoever. They finally realized he wasn't a normal person, he was a superhuman. Before they could recover from the shock, F.A. Wang unleashed a bolt of lightning from behind them. It struck them and they were shocked. This dog is a superhuman too. Before they could even react, Daju knocked them to the ground with his baton. Upstairs, Chen Luo mentally praised F.A. Wang. He had never taught the dog how to draw aggro, but it learned on its own. What a smart dog. All 6 of them were defeated. Chen Luo said to Mei La, "Go pull the crystals from the center of their foreheads for me." The girl was a bit startled. Mi Lap's face now showed clear panic and fear. She pointed at herself, me. Tran Lak affirmed, "Yes. Although you are an assistant, you still need to experience these things yourself to avoid being affected in a critical moment by seeing something unpleasant." Beside them, He Lin also agreed and supported. "This is something you have to do sooner or later. Just do it now so you can get used to it." Mi Lap briefly thought, could this be revenge? "For not defending me during the meal, handing Mi Lap a small knife, Tran Lak said, 'I'll go down with you.' With Tran Lak accompanying her, Mi Lap's fear subsided a bit. She started to feel more confident. The 2 went downstairs. Tran Lak told Dai Tru, "Let Mi Lap do this." Holding the knife, Mi Lap thought sobbed, "This afternoon, Tran Lak and I ganged up on my sister. Now my sister is ganging up on me with him." Mi Lap whimpered, turning to the Dharma King for help. "How about you help me?" The Dharma King looked away smugly, pretending not to hear anything. This was not a job for a dog anyway. The small knife was slowly inserted into the corpse's forehead. The image is a bit gruesome, so it has been blurred. Mi Lap retrieved the crystal with one hand while vomiting profusely. She still was not used to this. After collecting the crystals and giving them to Tranlac, he encouraged her, "Go on and puke, you will get used to it after a while. Your brother Dai Tru was the same way before. When we get back, I will have Sister Ngok cook you some beef noodles to make up for what you have thrown up." Everyone returned home together. A bowl of beef noodles full of meat was placed before her. Mi-Lin looked at it in shock. "Are you guys eating beef noodles or just beef? Who eats beef noodles with this much beef?" Handing a bowl of beef noodles to Mi-Lap, Tranlac encouraged the girl, "This biggest bowl is for you." Mi-Lap's face was still a little sad and scared. She thanked Tranlac, but it was clear she could not swallow anything right now. Her mind was now filled with bloody images. On the other side, Mi-Lin could not swallow her anger either. The next morning, Tranlac's group of 4 was sitting at the table eating fried scallion pancakes. This dish was delicious. Mi-Lin wanted to eat some too, but she was in a standoff with Tranlac, so she could not. Although she was very hungry, she could not sit at the same table to eat with Tranlac's group at noon. At noon, there were more delicious, fragrant dishes. Mi-Lin sat there gnawing on a dry biscuit, thinking to herself, "Let us see what you guys eat next, as if I do not know how big my own refrigerator is." In the evening, she looked at the table full of 8 dishes and wondered why there was still so much food. "My refrigerator is so small. They have eaten 2 meals, it should be empty by now." Mi-Lin rushed to the refrigerator to check. Before her was a fridge packed with food, vegetables, meat, and fruits were all fully stocked, making her extremely puzzled. She immediately ran to Tranlac and questioned him, "Why is the fridge full again? When did you go out? Even if you went out, you probably could not find such fresh food." Just then, Mi-Lap came out to explain to Mi-Lin, "Sister Tranlac is actually a spatial ability user. He can store food for several years," which made her gape in shock. At this, Mi-Lin got angry. "Why did not you tell me sooner?" Mi-Lap acted cute. "Sorry, sis, I forgot." She turned to Tranlac anyway. "According to the rules, we will have a match in 2 days. If you lose, you will have to obediently listen to me," Tranlac replied. "Rest assured, I will try my best to meet your demands. Besides, we might even be able to fight tomorrow." Mi-Lin was confident she thought she would be the winner. And Tranlac would have to kneel, call her sister, and offer her all the food. It seems Tranlac was about to break through to level 4. At that point, he could use spatial walk. By then, not only would his protective abilities increase, but his strength would also change. Sitting in his room, Tranlac was absorbing crystals. He was preparing to absorb the crystal of the leader rat. He began to absorb all the spiritual energy from the leader rat's crystal. It quickly entered his body. His brain lit up. Then suddenly there was a click and a splitting headache. Small sparks of lightning appeared around him. Mi-Fan, lying there, was also startled, wondering if he was okay. Tranlac propped himself up with both hands. Small lightning sparks appeared all over his body. It seemed he had finally leveled up. He breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, level 4. Mi-Fan looked at the crystal covetously and meowed. The rat crystal was truly a treasure. More than half of its energy was still unconsumed. "I have to put this away." After saying that, he told it to wait obediently inside while he went to test his new ability. The Dharma King, who was guarding the door, suddenly saw Tranlac appear out of thin air. It startled the dog. Tranlac turned to reassure it, "Do not be afraid, it is me." The Dharma King thought to itself, "I was guarding the door and you still scared me. You nearly scared the soul out of my body." Tranlac sat on the sofa hearing the noise. Mi-Lin came out and said, "Tranlac, did you deliberately make the dog bark in the middle of the night to disturb my sleep?" That really scared the dog to death. Tranlac chuckled lightly. "You think too highly of yourself. Let us eat first. After we eat, we will have our little match." Mi-Lin was startled. "Is not the match supposed to be tomorrow?" Mi-Lin was still a bit suspicious and said, "Before we fight, let us confirm one thing. As long as I win, you will listen to me, right?" Tranlac nodded. "Of course, it seems you are very confident. How about we add another condition?" He raised 3 fingers and said the distance of the fight. "We'll be within 20 meters in 3 seconds. I will make you lose convincingly. If I cannot do it, you win." Hearing this, Mi-Lin became a little angry. "I admit you are very strong, but 3 seconds are not you underestimating me too much." Tranlac smiled lightly. "I am not underestimating you. I am just very confident." Mi-Lin smirked. "Once the match starts, I will back away. I really do not believe he can touch me." She asked for the conditions of the match. Tranlac gave a sly, perverted smile and said, "It is very simple. You just have to bend over and let me kick your butt once." Mi-Lin was shocked. "So if you lose, I get to kick your butt once?" "You can kick me to death. Kick me as many times as you want. Or if you have any other requests, I will grant them anyway. I will not lose," he thought to himself. Then they all went up to the building's rooftop. Tranlac and Mi-Lin stood 20 meters apart. He said, "If there are no other objections, let us begin." On the side were 3 spectators and referees. Mi-Lap Mangok and Dai Tru Mi-Lin immediately backed away, thinking, "I do not believe I cannot stall for just 3 seconds." Suddenly, Mi-Lin's eyes widened. Where did Tran-Lak go? She clearly had not taken her eyes off him, so how did he disappear? Mi-Lin quickly looked around, but still could not see him, suddenly appearing from behind Tran-Lak, grabbed her shoulders with both hands, startling her immensely. It all happened in the blink of an eye. She quickly grabbed his arm, intending to throw him forward, but Tran-Lak stood there, smiling gently while Mi-Lin was frozen in place. He breathed softly on her shoulder. Mi-Lin, you lost. She blushed and let go of Tran-Lak's arm. That is right, if Tran-Lak had used a sharp dagger instead of his hands, just now she would have been dead. Mi-Lin said with a cold face, I lost. She thought to herself, what should I do now? Do I have to bend over and let him kick my butt now? Tran-Lak turned to Mi-Lin and said, let us go downstairs and eat first. You should come too, facing her. Tran-Lak smiled and said, I was wrong about what happened 2 days ago. But from now on, we are on the same team. We are all comrades. We should get along down at the dining table. Gok brought out a tray full of delicious buns and said to Mi-Lin, do not be shy. If that is not enough, there is more. I will make you a bowl of spicy soup. She was very hungry, the food smelled delicious, and everyone was inviting her so warmly if Mi-Lin still refused. It would be really impolite. She began to enjoy the food, thinking to herself, I do not want to refuse such delicious food anyway. Tran-Lak sat beside her, smiling. Today, Mi-Lin has also become one of my people. Tran-Lak cleared his throat if everyone is full. Then let us all go to the living room. We can discuss our next plan. Everyone gathered in the living room. Tran-Lak began to speak. Since the apocalypse began, the strength of the zombies has been gradually increasing. Now, the only way to deal with them is to unite, he continued. It will become harder and harder to get supplies. For a single person to get food from zombies is a near-death experience. Therefore, the trend is for people to gather into teams or form settlements to survive, although Tran-Lak's team is very strong if they encounter a team of over 100 people. Even if they win, there will be casualties. This is something he cannot accept. If they joined another team with his personality, he could not submit to others. Moreover, Mi-Lin and Mi-Lap are so beautiful. What if others wanted to take them? Hearing that Mi-Lin reacted fiercely, whoever dares to have such ideas about me and my sister, I will beat them to death because of this. The 5 of them could not join someone else's team, and they could not let others bully them. Tran-Lak decided, we will form our own team. The more people in the team, the better. Of course, we cannot just accept anyone. Hearing this, Mi-Lak agreed. Brother Tran-Lak is right. Let's form our own team. Daju beside her also agreed. We'll all listen to Brother Tran-Lak. Professor Tran-Lak began to analyze. The central area has too many zombies, so ordinary people will choose to flee to the suburbs. It won't be long before many people establish bases. They'll gather into bases on the city's outskirts. Mi-Lin finally spoke up, admitting she hadn't thought that far ahead. She nodded in agreement. Tran-Lak nodded, thinking she might have truly been convinced by him now. I wonder when I'll get to fulfill that butt-kicking condition from earlier. Just the thought of it made him happy. He could finally get revenge for his past life. He had a very smug look on his face. However, to save Mi-Lin's face, afraid it would embarrass her in front of everyone, he put aside the team expansion talk for a moment. He stood up and said, Mi-Lin, come with me to the room. I have something private to tell you. Mi-Lin wondered what it could be that couldn't be said out here. It must be something very private. But when she realized what it was, she immediately thought of the butt-kicking. Could it be that he's really going to kick me, she thought? She stood up and followed Tran-Lak. Well, a deal's a deal, she had already agreed. What's so scary about one kick to the butt? Inside the room, she put both hands on the wall and stuck her butt out. All right, if you're going to kick, then just do it. Seeing her standing straight, Tran-Lak told her to bend over more, his tone very sarcastic. Mi-Lin felt a bit embarrassed. This is too humiliating. Do you really have to say it like that? Mi-Lin protested. I don't quite understand why you added the condition of kicking me. She suggested, how about you change it to a different punishment, as long as it's not too unreasonable. Just be decisive and don't ask why. You play, you pay. Are you going to do it or not? His expression really drove Mi-Lin crazy. But being a strong-willed girl, Mi-Lin resigned herself to it. Fine. I, Mi-Lin, am a woman of my word. With that, she placed both hands on the wall, arching her back in an incredibly sexy and provocative pose. Tran-Lak suddenly froze. He couldn't believe he was about to do this to the future war goddess Ling Yan. This spectacular scene was truly irresistible. Mi-Lin glanced over and saw Tran-Lak taking off his shoe. She thought to herself, if he takes his shoe off, it'll be a little softer. Tran-Lak wouldn't kick me with all his might, would he? If you use too much force, I'll cry and you'll see. Mi-Lin turned back and said, what's the holdup? I'm counting to 10. If you don't kick by, then don't blame me for breaking my promise. It means you gave up on your own. With that, she started counting. Tran Lak thought one kick could erase the humiliation, but this debt would have to be paid eventually. Looking at Mi-Lin bent over in front of him, he thought, did I really bring her in here just to kick her once? He felt a pang of pity. Tran Lak thought this one kick would be satisfying, but he had a feeling he'd end up single for life. Mi-Lin's countdown from 10 had reached 2. Time was almost up. Tran Lak hurriedly raised his hand. Just as she counted to 1, there was a yelp and a slapping sound from behind her. It turned out Tran Lak had made his move. Mi-Lin, both embarrassed and angry, yelled, I told you to kick me. Why did you use your hand? Tran Lak gave a sly grin. Oops, I forgot. How about I make it up with a kick now? Mi-Lin turned and growled, I'm going to kill you. She lunged at Tran Lak, who begged for his life in fear. If he told anyone, she might actually kill him. He hurried out, not forgetting to turn back and appease Mi-Lin. At noon, I'll ask Sister Ngok to cook some of your favorite dishes to celebrate you officially joining the team. Mi-Lin suddenly blushed. That's not right. He never asked what I like to eat. Could it be that Mi-Lak told him earlier? At noon, looking at a table full of food, Mi-Lin thought that without Tran Lak, she would never have been able to eat these dishes again, as she thought she kept eating with great appetite. Warming up to him, Mi-Lin proactively raised her glass to Tran Lak, saying, Thank you for taking good care of my sister. Outwardly, he said it's what I should do, no need to be formal. Let's just eat. But inwardly, he was thinking if one sister is good, might as well go for both. While everyone was eating, Tran Lak proposed, this is a densely populated residential area. It will attract survivors looking for supplies, and the area isn't suitable for us to live in long term. So after we eat, everyone should pack their things. Tomorrow, we'll go back to my old villa. On the way, we can also look for any suitable members to recruit to the team. It was a pretty good idea. The more people they had, the more secure he would feel. It was also a good opportunity for Mi-Lin and Mi-Lak's group to get some practice. As he was sitting in the truck, he heard cries for help from outside. Brother Fang, please just leave us. You need to run. Outside, a group of people was surrounded by zombies. 3 were in the back while 1 man stood in front holding them off. He turned back and said, cut the crap. If we're going to die, we'll die together. It turned out they were being attacked by a bronze-type zombie. If he had left his 3 teammates behind as bait, he could have escaped, but he didn't. The man named Brother Fang looked towards Tran Lak and begged for help. Boss, if you can save us, please help us, for this great kindness. I Fang Yu will definitely repay you. In the truck, Tran Lak thought this guy is decent, we can recruit him. He smiled, nodded, and said all right. The moment he finished speaking, the Dharma King jumped down from the truck, ready to rescue them. Following the order, the Dharma King struck the zombie with lightning. It felt as if its vision blurred. At the power of this dog, Fang Yu and Tu Lan were overjoyed at being rescued. Fang Yu bowed to thank Tran Lak for saving the 4 of them. Tran Lak asked them what happened and if they had awakened any abilities. Fang Yu began to introduce himself. I'm the oldest of the 4 of us. On the 3rd day, I awakened my ability. My strength increased and my constitution got stronger. This is Duong Huyen, who awakened ice powers on the 5th day. This is Li Fai with electric powers. He awakened on the 5th day. He even joked, I'm no match for that dog of yours. The last person is Tu Lan. She can control sandstone and awakened on the 7th day. The 4 of us worked at the same company and have been comrades for years. We went out to find some supplies, but ran into a poison-spitting zombie and nearly lost our lives. Tran Lak also introduced himself and invited them to join his team with him as the leader, of course. Fang Yu respectfully thanked him. You saved our lives, so it would be ungrateful to refuse. Tran Lak had the 4 of them sit in the back of the truck. They had originally stopped to see if there was anything worth taking. But since there was nothing important now, they didn't need to get it. There would be more on the streets and in the shopping centers. Tran Lak spotted an empty apartment and told the 4 of them to stay there for now. He said he would come back for them later. Mi-Lin felt that these 4 people were quite decent. Not only did they have the courage to kill zombies, but they also didn't abandon their teammates at a critical moment. Tran Lak was also quite satisfied with them, but people's hearts are hard to predict, so he reminded everyone to be careful. He told Mi-Lin and Mi-Lak to pick rooms on the 3rd floor. Daju and Sister Ngok would stay on the 2nd floor. After that, everyone tidied up a little. Daju would go with him next door to meet the new people. As they reached the door, they heard them talking about the Dharma King. Even the 4 of us combined couldn't take it on. Tran Lak walked over, cleared his throat, and asked if they knew how to cook. He smiled and gave them a bag of food to use for the time being. Having just saved their lives and now giving them supplies, he felt a bit hesitant. Fang Yu refused telling him to keep it. We'll go find some ourselves later. Tran Lak said kindly, "Don't be so polite. You can consider yourselves with me now. Giving them some food is nothing. After eating, get some rest. In the afternoon, we'll organize the supplies from the villa area for centralized management." He had already thought it through. Only after they become core members will they get to eat meat. He told Daju to give them a walkie-talkie to make contact easier. Tran Lak said he planned to settle here for the long term. "So this afternoon, I'll take the team to check out the villa area. Since you're injured, you should rest first. If anything comes up, contact us on the walkie-talkie." On the way back, Mi Lin, who was with him, complained, "Why didn't you go with Daju? I'm not comfortable leaving Mi Lak with the other group." Hearing a sound, he pulled her into a thicket of trees. "Be quiet and watch." A bus pulled over and a person with flowing white hair appeared. It was Mu Tien Ka. Seeing her, he remembered he had forgotten about a subordinate like her. Mu Tien Ka was the CEO and head designer of a famous clothing design company. Unfortunately, she had an extremely twisted personality. He remembered from his past life. After the apocalypse, she and his subordinates established a shelter for female survivors. It should have been a good thing, but she never allowed any of her members to fall in love or be affectionate. If caught, they would be severely punished. But who doesn't have basic human desires? Besides, she herself was someone who would later try to win Mi Lin's favor. She even died for Mi Lin's sake. After Mi Lin became the new leader, she gradually loosened the rules, allowing male survivors to join. Mu Tien Ka probably brought her subordinates here to gather supplies. It seems that due to my influence, Mi Lin and Tien Ka are going to meet earlier than they were supposed to. He glanced at Mi Lin, thinking it would be good for them to get along. When Mi Lin noticed his suggestive look, he pretended it was nothing. It seemed he also recognized someone else, Thu Van. The woman standing behind Mu Tien Ka is a very strong ice ability user. Too bad she died so early in the last life. Just like in the last life, Mu Tien Ka went to talk to Mi Lin first. Mi Lin was not very interested, so she replied perfunctorily. She introduced her team, which was founded by women, and invited Mi Lin to join them. Mi Lin apologized and declined the invitation because she already had her own team. Mu Tien Ka curiously asked if Tran Lak was her boyfriend. He snapped back at her irrelevant question, then turned and left. To catch up with everyone and save time, he left. Mu Tien Ka glared after him, thinking he was a greedy, lecherous man who monopolized beautiful women. She would definitely make Mi Lin see his true face. She had her team stay here for the time being. They started to split up and search. Mu Tien Ka began to think of how to make Mi Lin see Tran Lak's true colors, and then join her. That evening, Mu Tien Ka came to talk to Tran Lak. She wanted to cooperate with him on something. He was also curious and asked about it. 3 miles to the east, there is a shopping mall with a lot of supplies, if they could get the supplies there. The food would be enough for a year, and the daily necessities would be enough for more than 10 years, but there are also many zombies there, so she was not sure of the success rate. She wanted to partner with him. After it was done, he would get 30% and she would get 70%. After all, her side had more people, so naturally they would put in more effort. He remembered that shopping mall. That was where he and Mi Lap encountered the mutant zombie. He had already taken all the supplies inside. Knowing this in advance, Tran Lak immediately refused, saying he was a coward. There were at least a few hundred zombies inside, and he did not dare to go. Mu Tien Ka showed her disgust, thinking that if he was a coward, he should just go. Why even bother trying to hide it, you useless man? Why would Mi Lin choose to join his team? Tran Lak waved goodbye to her. In fact, she wanted to play a trick at the shopping mall to expose his wickedness during a crisis and get rid of him. But the fish did not take the bait. With no other choice, she thought of asking someone for help. Tran Lak watched her, knowing she wanted to get rid of him just to be with Mi Lin. In his past life, he had not realized Mu Tien Ka was so vicious. He originally did not want to move against her, but since she had bad intentions first, he would find someone to get rid of her. Seeing the Dharma King, he knew what he had to do. Who would be on guard against a dog? The next morning, Mu Tien Ka went to find Quang Pong, politely calling him Brother Fong. He did not dare to accept the title, just asking her to call him by his real name, Quang Pong. Outwardly, she was polite, but inwardly, she was cursing this stinky delivery guy. If it were not for Mi Lin, she would never have sought him out. However, the wind ability he awakened was truly powerful. Today, she came to ask him for a favor. She wanted him to use the wind to lead zombies to Tran Lak's place. She wanted to teach that scumbag a lesson. Quang Pong was obedient and immediately agreed to help Miss Mu because he also hated scumbags. But more importantly, there had to be benefits for him after it was done. Mu Tien Ka knew exactly what he wanted. After they succeeded, she would let him join her team. He smiled and agreed to the deal. In truth, he also wanted to be a scumbag, but his strength did not allow it. He also hoped to be near Vuong Lin in Mu Tian's team. He remembered Dai Tru working as a guard for that villa area. He could not find him last time, so he had to find Dai Luke this time. According to the plan, Quang Pong led the zombies straight to Tran Lak's villa. His heart was wicked, but his mouth said, "Sorry, scumbag brother." Suddenly, Tran Lak and Dai Luke appeared in front of him. Quang Pong was extremely surprised to see Dai Luke with Tran Lak. The Dharma King saw a bad guy and viciously pounced, but luckily, Tran Lak stopped it. The situation was very awkward for him. On one side was a friend, on the other was her squad. He could not harm his friends just to join a women's squad. Friendship won. Quang Pong led the horde of zombies away from there. Tran Lak recognized Quang Pong. In their previous life, they were considered friends. He helped them lure zombies to buy time to gather supplies. Unfortunately, his method was a double-edged sword. After just a few days, he was torn apart by zombies. His death in the previous life was truly tragic. After returning, he greeted Dai Thu and apologized for the zombies just now. It had scared him. Dai Thu also happily greeted him, knowing he would not lead zombies to harm him. Tran Lak, however, knew better and asked if Mu Tian Ka told you to lead the zombies over here. Quang Pong was surprised that he knew this and suspected that he was that scumbag. Tran Lak asked if anyone else knew about him leading the zombies over. Quang Pong honestly told him that she wanted to punish a scumbag and would appear at a critical moment. He was speechless at his foolishness. A piercing scream echoed. This roar was from a level 5 zombie that had mutated. From a distance, a bus approached. Mu Tian Ka continued to accelerate towards the zombies, confident she would rescue Mi Lin and win her heart. The bus crashed straight into the zombie horde. Some managed to dodge in time. The zombie also began to use its skills. It spat fire at the two girls. The fire began to grow larger and more dangerously. There was a gas tank on the bus. Mu Tian Ka stopped the bus and told everyone to run. She reassured the girls not to panic. She wanted to use the fire to burn them to death and told everyone to charge forward. The zombie also picked up a sword and advanced to fight. It kept targeting Mu Tian Ka. She was confused why it kept rushing at her. She grabbed the other woman's shoulder. She quickly pulled the woman in front of her to block the zombie's attack. Tran Lak watched from the outside. She really brought this upon herself. He wanted to take the opportunity to collect the mutant's crystal. It would have a lot of energy. In the urgent situation, Mu Tian Ka used her own team member as a shield. Everyone who saw it was horrified. The image of her leading everyone to escape the apocalypse was gone. As soon as she saw Tran Lak, she was secretly happy. A coward like him could block the zombie. He walked over and added a few cutting remarks. At a critical moment, you use your own sister as a shield. Is that really a good idea? Tran Lak slapped her hard across the face. Only then was she surprised by his strength. From behind, a zombie also came and gave her a beating. Mu Tian Ka lay sprawled on the ground, wailing in pain. Mu Tian's right-hand woman, Thu Van, stepped up to fight the zombie to the death so her sisters could escape. Tran Lak was very impressed by Thu Van's brave and self-reliant attitude. He could not just stand by. He summoned a sword in his hand, preparing for battle. Thu Van's courage was precious. He could not let her die. The zombie attacked Tran Lak with fire. His figure vanished in a flash. He suddenly appeared behind the zombie and sent it on its way. Everyone who saw this could not believe it, that it was resolved so easily. He was really too strong. Seeing Thu Van stand in frozen, he reminded her to throw the gas tank away. If it exploded, they would be done for. Just as she threw it into the air, it exploded. She then collapsed and sobbed. The battle was finally over. Tran Lak got the crystal from the zombie. He turned to Thu Van and told her not to cry anymore. He offered her his hand with a kind smile and helped her up. He comforted her, telling her to let her sister rest in peace. After all, the dead need to be buried. He asked her what her plans were for the future. This question made her think a lot. After all, the living must go on. That afternoon, she came to find Tran Lak just as he expected. His use of 50 tons of rice as bait was not in vain. He just wanted everyone to join his team. He guaranteed that in the short term, they would not have to worry about food. Thu Van hesitated, saying she would discuss it with her sisters and let him know later. A moment later, he smiled proudly. All the girls were standing at his door. The team now had 20 people left. They joined his team and would have to follow the rules he set. First, at all times, you must absolutely obey orders. If you join and do not follow commands, then I will not be polite. Of course, there will not be any bad things. Second, do not tell me you do not dare or are scared. In my place, there is no distinction between men and women. Everyone is the same in a fight. Third, if you want to find a partner, try to find one within our group. Finding someone from outside is not forbidden. But he must marry into our group and join us. This is mainly to prevent the talented people I have worked hard to train from being taken away. More importantly, it is to prevent people with bad intentions from investigating our internal secrets. Everyone agreed without any problem. Tran Lak sincerely thanked everyone for their trust, for now Thu Van will lead everyone. Then he invited everyone into the house. He would give them a surprise at noon. Seeing delicious shredded potatoes with soy sauce, which many girls adored, the guys also felt their single days were numbered. Seeing this, Kwang Pong also wanted to join the team. Tran Lak began to organize the abilities of each person on the team. At this time, he noticed a light-type user. It seems she's also the one Kwang Pong has his eye on among these girls. Shu Yun's talent is the best with king-level potential. Tomorrow, you will lead the team out. Have Fang Yu and Tu Lan guard the house and remind them to just warn off small groups. If they don't listen, fight them. If there's a large group, pretend you didn't see them and wait for me to handle it. The truck and bus hit the road. Tran Lak chose the next location to gather supplies. There are about 300 to 400 of them here, a suitable number for the team to handle. He announced over the radio for everyone to get into formation. Kwang Pong controlled the number of zombies. If there are more than 30 zombies at once, lure some of them away. The hunt began. Kwang Pong got to work. Dai Thu called the physical ability users to follow him while the girls used their magic and abilities. They charged into battle with the zombies, but somehow the zombies managed to dodge all those attacks. Some girls hit their targets while others were chased back by the zombies. Before they could finish one group, another charged in. Tran Lak was getting a headache from this team. Their coordination was terrible. If it weren't for a commander like him, these girls would have been wiped out. They need a lot more training. After finally clearing out the zombies, everyone was exhausted from their first fight. But when they heard they could pick out new clothes, the girls' eyes lit up. While everyone was choosing their outfits, Tran Lak was sneakily up to something. Unexpectedly, Mi Lin caught him holding black stockings. She immediately imagined he had a strange fetish for wearing them. It wouldn't be right if they were for his sister Mi La. This color doesn't suit her. Meanwhile, one of the girls discovered a large supermarket inside the clothing market. There were lots of supplies. A girl was overjoyed when she found water, but just as she was about to drink, Shu Yun stopped her. She asked Tran Lak about sharing it, and he smiled, agreeing to give everyone 2 bottles each. Mila felt it was great having him around. Since following him, she'd never been hungry or thirsty, and he always took care of her. There was something she had been wanting to say for a long time. She was determined to confess her feelings to him tonight. That evening, while Tran Lak was in his room, Mila came and knocked on his door. This made Tran Lak start having some wicked thoughts. She started talking to him about that afternoon. After seeing what happened to Shu Yun and the others, I realized just how lucky I am to have you. Mila grew more hesitant, wanting to confess her hidden feelings. She clasped her hands, looked at him with affectionate eyes, and asked to be his girlfriend. Tran Lak had been waiting for this moment for a long time and immediately agreed. Happiness came so suddenly that Mila wasn't ready. Tran Lak looked at her captivatingly and confessed his feelings. In this situation, no one knows how long we have to live. We have today, but not necessarily tomorrow. He wanted to speed things up. His sweet words convinced her, and he began to make his move. Mila wrapped her arms around his neck. Just as they were about to act, Tran Lak saw something. They both looked in the same direction and saw the little cat, Mi Fan, was still in the room. So he tossed her out without a second thought. The poor thing looked completely bewildered. The cat was furious, cursing him under its breath. Mi Lin went outside and saw Mi Fan scratching the door. Mi Fan tattled that Tran Lak was bullying Mila inside, even adding that Mila was very uncomfortable. He must have been afraid I'd help Mila, so he threw me out. She wanted to go in to check on the situation, but the Dharma King barked, blocking her way. Before she could even knock, she heard intimate sounds from inside. She hesitated. Mila was a willing participant, so what could she do even if she barged in? She had no choice but to let the wolf have her little sister. It was bound to happen sooner or later, so she turned away. After a passionate night, Tran Lak was in a great mood. He even asked Sister Ngok to fry 2 eggs and prepare 10 kilos of pork for the team. Sister Ngok wondered where Mi La was. Just then, Mi Lin walked over and blurted out, maybe she was taken advantage of by someone. The older sister really sees through everything. Sister Ngok went to fry the eggs, wondering how he would handle Mi Lin. Mi Fan was still angry about last night and refused to eat. It warned with a stern look that its anger has very serious consequences, so serious that a single dried fish wouldn't be enough to calm it down. Even 10 of them won't do. They finally settled on 20 fish for it to forgive him. Tran Lak said he could hold it during the day, but at night it had to sleep alone. After all, he was a taken man now. He couldn't sleep with it anymore, and it shouldn't even dream of sleeping with Mi La. At lunch, everyone gathered for a meal to celebrate the special happy day. He raised his glass, inviting everyone to eat. Everyone raised their glasses, thanking their amazing captain. Outside, a passing car caught the scent of braised pork from inside. Li Hui found the aroma irresistible and wanted to eat, but her brother reminded her of their urgent need to find drinking water. While the group was eating, the two siblings approached. The man asked to trade food for clean water. Tran Lak happily agreed and told Shu Yun to give them 2 bottles of mineral water. They traded instant noodles and sausages for the water and thanked her. As Li Ming was about to leave, his sister asked if everyone here was part of the same team. She wanted to join Tran Lak's team. To prove they were qualified, Tran Lak gave them a task: kill 10 zombies. You can use weapons, but not external help like a car. You also have to retrieve the crystals from their heads. After hearing the terms, the two left to complete the task. Tran Lak hoped the two wouldn't disappoint him. Li Hui realized the crystal's existence wasn't a secret, and Li Ming commented that there are a lot of smart people around. Besides, a team that can afford to eat so much meat is not to be underestimated. Although Tran Lak only asked for 10 zombies, he decided to kill 20, to further prove his worth. An hour later, they returned, completed the task, and successfully joined the team. Li Ming introduced himself as a warrior, and his sister Li Hui was a dancer. Tran Lak was curious about what a dancer could do. She gave him a little demonstration. Seeing it, he was overjoyed. It was a dark-type ability, when she levels up, whether for curses, summoning spirits, or attacks. It would be a huge help to the whole team. He asked Sister Ngok to cook more braised pork for the 2 newcomers. It was a day of celebration, so everyone got some. That night, Tran Lak was restless. He paced back and forth in his room, wondering if Mi La had finished absorbing the crystals for the day. He told Mi Fan to sleep with Mi Lin tonight because he had private business to attend to. The cat silently refused to leave, so he left in a huff. Mi Fan was confused why he didn't need it at night anymore. He went to Mi La's room and immediately suggested they have some fun. She sulked under the covers, saying no because she was still sore. Tran Lak held her and said there would be more chances later, so he would try to restrain himself. Or so he said. But then he asked if she could try using her healing spell on herself, which made Mi La blush beet red and speechless. The next morning, their objective was to head south, to the Yulin district to gather supplies. It was densely populated with people and zombies, so they had to be careful. Tran Lak told everyone not to worry, they would just use the vehicles to handle any trailing zombies. Then get out and clear a path. Elemental users attack everyone else, guard the front. Kuang Fong try to control the zombie numbers. Let's get to it. Kuang Pong lured the zombies away. Shu Yun commanded everyone to prepare to attack their targets. The people on the vehicles aimed at the zombies as ordered. Their firepower was quite impressive, their magic much stronger than before. They worked together to toss the smaller cars to the other side of the road. Inside, Tran Lak watched the team while holding Mi Fan. While scratching Mi Fan's back, he heard it scold. "Don't be so rough, it still hurts." It was the exact same thing Mi La had said last night, which made his jaw drop. He asked it where it had learned that. It replied, "You told me not to watch, but you never said I couldn't listen." So yesterday it jumped onto Mi La's balcony to eavesdrop and nearly fell. He threatened it for knowing too much. "Watch out or I might have to silence this cat for good." 30 minutes later in the Yulin district, Tran Lak told everyone to grab a weapon and prepare to kill zombies. Mi La saw the many stores and figured there would be good loot. He split them into 4 teams to search the shops, forbidding anyone from going alone. Any supplies found were to be taken directly to the truck. Everyone eagerly gathered rice noodles, oil, and meat. Someone discovered a nearby supermarket that hadn't been looted. Mi Lin thought that in such a large supermarket, she might find what she was looking for. Shu Yun saw her rummaging around secretively in a corner and asked what she was up to. Oh, she was getting ultra-thin condoms. Shu Yun's face turned beet red. She thought Mi Lin wanted to use them with Tran Lak, assuming they were intimate. Mi Lin explained it was just a misunderstanding, but Shu Yun had already changed the subject and walked away. In reality, Mi Lin had gotten them out of concern for Mi La. On Tran Lak's side, he felt someone watching him. When he turned around, he saw many survivors. One of the aunties saw that he was a kind-hearted person, so she asked for a watermelon, followed by flattery from the people upstairs asking for food, which stunned him. He cursed these shameless people in his mind. He said his leg hurt and he could not carry it upstairs. Then he was scolded for not respecting the old and loving the young. They made a scene calling everyone to see Tran Lak taking their supplies. They were wary and did not come down because they were afraid of zombies. When they saw his team finish off the zombies, they ran down to stop him from taking their supplies. They walked towards Tran Lak holding all kinds of weapons. They even wanted to call Tran Kwang's group, but unfortunately that group had already turned on them. An auntie stepped forward, calling them thieves and robbers, her scolding getting more intense. "So young yet uneducated, your elders at home did not teach you well?" Tran Lak asked this group of shameless old people. "Is this place your home?" The bald old man said it was his younger brother's supermarket now that his brother was gone. It was his. He told him to leave the truck and go back where he came from, that uncle. The leader drove the truck into their neighborhood. Tran Lak approached and told them to get lost. The bald old man challenged Tran Lak to hit him. "If you dare to hit me, I will just lie on the ground and not get up." Tran Lak had never seen anyone make such a request in his life. He slapped the old man right in the face. Fulfilling his wish, the old man fell to the ground. Everyone gathered to see old Lee not moving, but they were used to his scams, so they clicked their tongues in praise. Tran Lak just looked at the thoughtless crowd. If he did not kill the chicken, to scare the monkeys, this crowd would not disperse. The auntie then realized old Lee was not okay and threatened that she knew magic. The other man also struck a martial arts pose, saying he knew magic. He had learned Tai Chi with just one move that made the ground explode. The two of them were scared and ran for their lives. At this moment, Tran Kwang appeared with his brothers. Tran Lak looked at him, feeling he was familiar because in his past life, when he was weak, he had clashed with him. Tran Kwang smiled and said that old Lee always scolded them, but they let it go out of neighborly respect. He did not expect him to die at your hands this time. Tran Kwang came to make friends and ask for his help. The two shook hands to get acquainted. Tran Lak happily asked what help he needed. Tran Kwang's team had nearly 1,000 households with abundant supplies, and many supplies were still uncollected. But 2 days ago, a zombie dog that looked like a husky suddenly appeared. It knew lightning magic, ran very fast, and had some intelligence. It would attack when their group was small and run away when there were many people, making it hard to deal with. One of their teammates was killed by it. They found where it lived, but did not have enough people. Seeing that Tran Lak's group was not small, they asked for his help to kill it. Tran Lak asked about the reward. Tran Kwang said the reward was 150 kilograms of rice and 5 barrels of water. Mi Fan came and rubbed against his leg, knowing these people had no ill intentions. Tran Lak hugged it and followed its lead. He told everyone to continue moving the supplies while he went inside to investigate with F.A. Wang and Mi Fan Tran. Kwang was worried seeing him go alone, but Tran Lak said he had a dog behind him. Kwang was puzzled that during a disaster, Tran Lak still kept 2 pets and even brought a group of girls. Mi La offered to go with him. Tran Lak affectionately handed Mi Fan to her. He told her to be good and wait here for his return. Tran Kwang felt jealous watching their public display of affection. The two started moving normally. The zombie would be in this flower garden. He asked Tran Lak how to deal with the zombie. He looked at F.A. Wang and smiled. The method was very simple: to use a dog to control it. Tran Kwang felt that letting a pet go like that was too dangerous, but he did not know. Its talent surpassed many people. Looking at F.A. Wang, he secretly praised its intelligence. Soon, the group entered a house. Standing in front of the house, a strong smell of blood spread outside. When the door opened, F.A. Wang barked loudly and charged. It ran quickly towards the zombie dog, both agile and flexible. It dodged all the zombie dog's attacks. Its speed was surprisingly fast. When F.A. Wang attacked with its Thundertail sweep move, it was unexpected. F.A. Wang could even unexpectedly learn a new skill. That zombie was quickly defeated. The battle was over. Tran Lak smiled, announced the cooperation was over, and asked for the supplies. As they had agreed, everything was resolved. To his amazement, he realized Tran Lak's formidable strength. He wanted to cooperate with him. He confidently shared that each of them had killed at least 10 zombies, were daring and brave and very reliable. Moreover, they had plenty of supplies. Eating for half a year would not be a problem. Tran Lak confidently told him that he alone could easily kill all of them. Tran Quang also expressed. That was also the reason for choosing to cooperate with him. The strong do not team up with the strong. Only the weak rely on the strong. Tran Lak temporarily accepted his joining. But everything had to follow his orders. At this moment, one of Tran Quang's disciples ran over to report that Truong Luong had been injured by zombies. They were also shooting fireballs, causing many to flee. Seeing this, Tran Lak also called Mi La to follow him. Tran Quang worriedly asked Tran Lak to find a way to treat him. Just a glance was enough for them to understand each other. Mi La used a healing spell to save him. The miraculous magic saved his life. Tran Lak still told Tran Quang to consider joining the team, then he and Mi La left. Tran Quang asked his team members for their opinion on cooperating with Tran Lak after considering the benefits. The whole team agreed to join, so the decision was unanimous. He led the entire team to join. Tran Lak welcomed all the new members who had joined the group. So he told everyone to move to his place that night. Scene change at a villa. A group of people went crazy and beat someone up because they could not stay in the villa. Unfortunately, there were not many supplies, so they continued searching in other villas. Tu Lan and Puang Vu, standing aside, observed them preparing to enter Tran Lak's house. Tu Lan wanted to pretend she did not see and leave. But Puang Vu refused to stand by and watch their things get stolen, so the two of them decided to say something. If they did not listen, they would act and then run to buy time until Tran Lak returned. Tu Lan suddenly saw a convoy returning. It was Tran Lak's convoy entering the neighborhood from the gate. From a distance, he saw many cars and guessed that some survivors had entered the villa area. Not only that they even came to his gate, that group was surprised to see so many women among the people. Tran Lak recognized the green tea girl Tran Tin, who was seeking to rely on Lu Tik. That hooligan saw the truck had supplies and immediately demanded half without hesitation. Big brother Lu Tik gave him a slap. He disciplined his shameless underling. What he was interested in now were the two beautiful women in front of him pretending to be a decent person. He told his brothers to leave. In Tran Lak's memory, he was a poison-type ability user no matter what. He could not let him release his poison gas, or it would be like a skunk's fart, both stinky and toxic, nauseating for days. Mi Fan beside him reminded him that this group was full of ill intentions. The underling asked him why he let it go so easily. He immediately got a knock on the head. In fact, he was planning to sneak attack Tran Lak before the underling could praise him. An explosion right at his head made him scream in panic. Tran Lak was not that easy to let go of. He used magic to deal with all of them. He would not do something stupid like waiting for them to act before counterattacking, since he already knew they were a threat to him. Then do not even think about leaving. He remembered from his past life that a portion of the zombies would evolve to level 1. Before they evolved, he had to move Tran Quang's supplies back. At this time, there was a knock on the door outside on the 3rd floor. There were only him, Mi La, and Mi Lin, just as he thought Mi La had come to find him. He excitedly went to open the door, only to see Mi Lin. Mi Lin stuffed something into his hand that everyone knows what it is. When he opened it, he was shocked to see a bag full of condoms. She blushed and said she only did this because of Mi La. She was worried that Mi La was still young and had to wait another 2 years. If he intended to become a father, then she was just meddling after saying that she quickly turned and ran away. Tran Lak looked at the bag of items and smiled, accepting her kindness. He happily skipped to Mi La's room to find her the number of zombies that knew magic was increasing. He thought this was a real evolution, a very dangerous and scary thing. Tran Lak acted like a leader who would not lead everyone to their deaths. He began to share the rules of zombies with everyone. Level 1 zombies knowing magic were indeed like them. They all have various abilities and a certain level of intelligence. The best way to deal with them is with a 4-person formation, 2 warrior types and 2 mage types. Although they have evolved, they are not as good as everyone here. If you encounter a large number, you can run away. Now he would teach everyone a small skill to avoid magic. He asked Mi Lin and Thu Van to attack him with magic. So he could demonstrate the fire-type. Mi Lin and Thu Van prepared to attack. Tran Lak dodged the attacks gently and calmly. Everyone watched with their mouths agape. They could not stop praising him. Seeing the new magic, it seemed impossible to dodge. But you can predict the trajectory of their magic through Mi Lin and Thu Van's hand signs and dodge it. Just focus on predicting the magic trajectory to dodge in advance. Dealing with a level 1 zombie is extremely easy. Mi Lin felt unconvinced and wanted to try attacking you again. But Tran Lak dodged it as usual. Unexpectedly, a moment later, he got hit in the face. As expected of the war goddess Spirit Flame Maiden, her combat talent is truly powerful. Level 1 zombies have absolutely no predictive intelligence. If you encounter a mutated one that can predict run away, they are definitely not something you can fight against. He let everyone find their own opponent to practice their skills. We will depart after lunch. Today counts as half a day with a quota of 3 level 1 crystals per person. Any team that fails to meet the quota will be punished. The entire team won't get to eat dinner when they return. After the zombies leveled up, the survivors began to turn on each other. Looking outside, he saw a man and a woman being bullied. Tranlak asked her if she knew them. She said it was her best friend. If it were just an acquaintance, it would be fine. But since she said it was her best friend, he couldn't stand by and do nothing. Leave the hard work to the Dharma King. It understood its duty and went out to handle the situation. The men saw it, called it fat, and wanted to catch it for dinner. Milin and Dai Thu came from behind and beat them to a pulp. The Dharma King laughed arrogantly, wondering if they still wanted to eat dog meat. Milap went over and told Truong Tin Tin not to be afraid. She introduced Tranlak to Tin Tin, saying he had just saved them. She profusely thanked Tranlak and introduced her father, Truong Dong Tan. She and her father had nowhere else to go, so they asked to join the team. As long as they followed the rules, he said the two of them could join. Truong Tin Tin asked Milap to talk to Tranlak so they could have a private chat tonight. He immediately refused because there was already one third wheel Mi fan, and now she would be another third wheel. He handed Truong Tin Tin over to Tu Van. When she arrived, she ate heartily and wondered why Milap wasn't eating too. Tu Van explained that Tranlak was the boss and she was just an employee, so eating together would be awkward. But Truong Tin Tin thought she was secretly eating something more delicious. She blamed her best friend for not including her. Meanwhile, in the villa, Tranlak told Milap she needed to observe her friend for a while longer. Your relationship must not be revealed. Besides, everyone in the team has their own value. Let's see what she can do. As long as she's honest, even if she's not strong. He would arrange a logistics position for her. Then, urgent news arrived. More than 10 cars with about 50 to 60 people suddenly appeared at the villa gate, likely survivors fleeing here. He told everyone to gather at the community gate immediately. Tuvan then told the girls to form up and assemble at the gate. The nosy Truong Tin Tin asked. Are we about to fight? Seizing the chance, Thuvan asked what her ability was. Hearing she had a strength-type ability, Thuvan placed her in front, not wanting to take the dangerous frontline position. She then tried to switch with Li Tu, but Li Tu was an assistant and was placed in the back by Tranlak. When Thuvan pulled her, she started crying about how she and Milap were best friends. You can't do this to me! As she screamed and struggled, Milap appeared, telling her not to be afraid and that she needed some experience. Milap reassured her, saying she would stay by her side. I'll make sure to help you feel confident, and if you get injured, I'll heal you right away. Truong Tin Tin noticed the buttercream on Milap's mouth. She started to suspect the relationship between Milap and Tranlak, thinking she had sold her body to be with him. Truong Tin Tin grew even more jealous of Milap for not helping her. Meanwhile, Tran Quang An was refusing the newcomers' entry to the villa, telling them to go away. But they became even more insistent on forcing their way in. Just then, Tranlak arrived. Seeing how weak he looked, the man politely explained his team's shortage of supplies, saying his people hadn't eaten in a day. He asked for some supplies, but Tranlak said he could only trade, not give aid. 1 crystal from a zombie's forehead could be exchanged for a bottle of water or a kilogram of rice. The man was shocked that he knew the secret of the crystals. Seeing that the approaching team was all women, he became arrogant. He put his hands on his hips and irritably repeated the trade offer to his group. His people were too hungry to fight zombies. Knowing he must have plenty of supplies, they pleaded with him to share some, saying they were helpless otherwise. He was furious with these people who wanted something for nothing. Truong Tin Tin started spouting nonsense again, saying they should keep the peace and just give them some food to make them leave. Milap immediately scolded her for talking nonsense. She wasn't being kind. She was just afraid that if a fight broke out, she at the front of the line would be the first to get hurt. Emboldened, they asked for 500 kilograms of rice and other food, promising to pay it back later. Tranlak walked over to her and slapped her hard. How dare someone with no authority speak out? Her father helped her up and spoke to him. He revealed that the supplies filled several villas, saying it was better to share them to avoid casualties. He accused him of being cruel, toying with his subordinates' lives for a few supplies. When Milap ran over worried, she snapped at her, calling her a hypocrite. Truly, some people are not worth saving. Tranlak saved her and fed her, and now she was sowing discord. Tranlak turned back to the negotiation. The man had overheard about the supplies. Filling several villas, asking for a small share isn't unreasonable. Tranlak ignored him and asked the man with glasses if he also wanted supplies. He and his team were just looking for a place to settle down. They had no intention of forcing the issue. If the villas were full, they would leave. The shameless beggar asked Tran Lak one last time if he was going to give them anything. He smiled, created an orb, and gave it to him, straight to his face. Tran Lak was done being patient. If they were seeking death, he would oblige. Truong Tin Tin and her father were stunned. Now they understood why Tran Lak hadn't yielded. He won with such ease. Everyone else began to fight as well. Tran Lak ordered his men to take the crystals from their heads and dispose of the bodies behind the mountain. Tin Tin was finally scared. She knelt and cried, begging him to spare her. "I am Milap's friend." He didn't care about that, but he couldn't let her stay there anymore. He told her to leave before he changed his mind. Milap had no choice but to say goodbye to her former best friend. She muttered resentfully that Milap could cling to the leader, but one day they would come begging to her. The Dharma King, who was standing by, got a kick in the rear from Tran Lak. He signaled it not to leave any loose ends. The assassin dog acted once more, stealthily following the father and daughter. Tran Quang called to report that the two men had returned to see him. He didn't say what about. Seeing that the man seemed honest, he went to inform Tran Lak. Tran Lak asked Mi Lin to take Mi Lap to her room, then went to meet him. The man introduced himself as Lan Than. He wanted to join his team. In addition, Lan Than had something more important to say. He took out a sparkling blue crystal. Tran Lak saw that it was a level 6 crystal. Lan Than said he took it from a dead monster that was over 10 meters tall. He offered it as a gift. Appreciating his sincerity, he asked Tran Quang to explain the team's rules. There are only 2 simple rules. First, absolutely obey the leader's commands. Second, if you desert in battle, you know what happens. Tran Lak looked happily at the crystal in his hand. With this, he could reach level 5 in about 3 days, half a month ahead of schedule. He told Tran Quang to continue guarding the entrance with his men. If more people arrive, ask if their team has anyone with light or other support abilities. If they agree to join, let them in. If not, tie them up and bring them to me. A short while later, the Dharma King returned. It proudly showed off, proving it was a professional that worked fast. Tran Lak held a meeting. All level 2 members were to continue killing zombies. Lan Than and his team would also go for the experience. Since they just arrived, there's no crystal quota for them. They are to follow the others and learn how to fight. Thuvan replied with a loud, "Understood." Mi Lin started leading them to the zombie-infested area. Tran Quang shared with Lan Than that the girls had been with Tran Lak for a long time and were all level 2. Their team leader Thuvan is even more respected and has already reached level 3. Lan Than was shocked to hear how powerful the women here were. Zombies appeared in huge numbers. With that many zombies, there would be plenty of crystals. Thuvan divided them into 4-person teams to search for supplies. Anything they found was to be moved to the truck immediately. Stay safe and maintain communication. Thuvan assigned Kuang Pong to watch the door and alert everyone if anything happened. An hour later, Kuang Pong heard a sound and turned around. In the distance, a lot of vehicles were approaching their location. Thuvan thoughtfully reminded everyone to be careful, prioritizing assessing the situation over rushing to get supplies. Then they heard a voice calling for DM Lei to get out of the car. Another group had arrived. It was a large group, and it was unclear if they were hostile. They were ordered to regroup but worried that their supplies would be stolen. Just as they were about to leave, a car pulled up and a thug got out to harass the beautiful girls. He greeted them with a sleazy voice and tried to touch one of them, but she stopped him. She slapped him. The 2 perverts started harassing them again, telling the girls not to play hard to get in this apocalypse. She kicked him straight in the crotch, making him spit blood as his balls were crushed. The other guy ordered his men to kill the 2 of them. Capture the 2 girls to deal with later. They quickly used their numbers surrounding them with weapons. The girl kept yelling at them to get lost, so the thug Hazy attacked Yan Li. The wooden club smashed hard on her head. Yan Li fell to the ground and he cursed at her. Just then, someone called Hazy's name. It was Yuan Bao passing by in his car. He said it was nothing serious, just some wretched woman who tried to hit him, so he was teaching her a lesson. Indeed, this Hazy was vicious, but he was also strong. He didn't blame him too harshly, just warned him not to go too far, as there would be no exceptions next time. The 2 thugs were laughing gleefully when a voice told them to stop. As one turned to ask who it was, the guy next to him was shot in the face. Yuan Bao also got out of the car to check on the situation. It was Shu Yun who shot her bow to save them. Yuan Bao retaliated with his Earth Shield technique. When the two attacks collided, they both dissipated, giving them a measure of each other's strength. Both sides became cautious, unable to act rashly. She demanded they release her friend. Surprisingly, Yuan Bao told Hazy to let her go, but sadly Yan Li had already been beaten to death. Shu Yun cried in anguish, blaming herself for failing to lead the team and letting this happen. That rotten Hazy just laughed at the scene. Shu Yun suppressed her rage and turned back. Just wait until Chen Luo gets here, they won't get away with this. He even yelled at her to get lost. But she had to leave the truck behind. Shu Yun gritted her teeth in anger and left. The pervert Hazy asked Yuan Bao why he didn't keep the pretty girls. Having had enough, he slapped him across the face, scolding him to stop causing trouble. This woman is not to be trifled with. Still unafraid, he argued that they had more people so she wouldn't dare to act recklessly. He guessed they were stationed nearby and would find a chance to confirm it, otherwise they would surely face retaliation. Back at the villa, Shu Yun told Chen Luo everything that happened, and she blamed herself for her poor leadership. Chen Luo just sighed. In reality, Shu Yun had done the right thing. Acting recklessly would have been irrational. If everyone died fighting zombies with him, he would have nothing to say. But he would not tolerate his people being bullied. He became furious. A blood debt must be paid in blood. Chen Luo led his entire team out for revenge. No one who bullied his people would be allowed to live. From a high vantage point, Heizi saw a group of people approaching for revenge. They came back surprisingly fast. Chen Luo's whole team arrived at their location. Yuan Bao's side also gathered their men to prepare for a fight. The two teams faced off, and the atmosphere grew tense. A look of concern appeared on Yuan Bao's face. The woman he had fought was a level 3 ability user. Chen Luo directly asked who the leader of the other group was. They dared to bully his people, so he saw no reason to spare them. He radiated an aura of absolute confidence. Yuan Bao couldn't risk it. He quietly admitted his mistake and offered to return the truck plus a ton of rice as compensation. Chen Luo retorted sharply, "So one of my people's lives is worth a ton of rice. Then I'll give you tons of rice to buy all of your lives." Yuan Bao saw his arrogance but knew he had the power to back it up. If he didn't give Chen Luo a proper explanation, he feared Chen Luo would actually do it. Right now, his people were his most valuable asset. He couldn't risk them or make any mistakes. This whole mess was caused by Heizi. He couldn't let everyone else suffer for it. He handed Heizi over to Chen Luo's team to take their anger out on. Heizi struggled, claiming Shu Yun's people struck first. But for Chen Luo, one person as a scapegoat was not enough. To consider the matter resolved, Chen Luo believed vengeance was necessary. Heizi was now pale with fear, begging for mercy. He even implicated two of his followers, Guishi and Mao Yi. Chen Luo gave them a steely glare. For the sake of his men, Yuan Bao had no choice but to sacrifice those two as well. Chen Luo called for everyone to step forward and beat them to death. "And remember, don't use your hands, they'll get dirty. Use your feet." Chen Luo's people moved forward and began to stomp on them relentlessly until their faces were swollen like pig heads. However, many still hadn't vented their anger. Wang Ling used her magic to heal the three, and then they switched to a different form of punishment. The area was filled with screams. Seeing the three scumbags in agony, Wen Bao's group turned pale and sweaty at the brutality of Chen Luo's team. The three lay bloodied on the ground as Yuan Bao finally asked him to stop. "The ones who started the trouble are all dead now. Your side also killed one of my men earlier, so we're even." However, Chen Luo refused to let it go that easily. None of Yuan Bao's group would meet a good end. Yuan Bao tried to reason with him, but Chen Luo wasn't interested. Yuan Bao said he had never seen anyone so crazy. If you really want a deathmatch, he's not afraid. He was confident from fighting countless zombies, and besides, his group was larger than yours. Therefore, he was confident he couldn't lose, so he advised you to run away before he made his move. This guy with the glasses is pretty confident. Chen Luo thought for a moment, assessing the situation, then told his people to fall back. A true leader not only fights, but also has the strength to protect others. He didn't want anyone to get hurt, so he decided to fight alone. Yuan Bao was surprised by this. He couldn't understand if Chen Luo truly had no fear of death. He figured Chen Luo was just trying to play the hero. "So he's just an arrogant brat trying to challenge my authority. If I send my men now, I'll lose face. So a one-on-one duel with this kid is the perfect solution. It's also a chance to intimidate everyone else," he thought. Chen Luo opened his palm and a large blue glowing sword appeared. He then charged at Yuan Bao. Only then did he realize how bad the situation was. He retreated and raised his hand, summoning sand to block Chen Luo. But could such a small amount of sand really stop him? Chen Luo looked at him with contempt. You think you can stop me with this pathetic sand? The sword slashed down right in front of the man. A flash of blue light passed and it was over. The arrogant man fell. His followers frantically called his name, but he could no longer answer. Brother Yuan was dead. Defeated in a single strike. What kind of power was that? Everyone was shocked. Chen Luo calmly turned and winked at the beautiful woman, thinking to himself that it was nice to be cared for by his wife. The victory didn't make Chen Luo arrogant. To him, it felt as normal as swatting a mosquito, nothing to be proud of. Then he turned around. He was determined to finish off those who had bullied his people. They begged for mercy, but it was too late. They couldn't run and they couldn't fight. In the end, they all fell to his sword. His two followers watched, on their jaws dropped in amazement. They never imagined their boss was this strong. The remaining man felt incredibly lucky to have chosen the right side. He was glad he hadn't opposed him from the beginning, or he might be one of the cold bodies on the ground. Seeing him like this made Mila feel uneasy. The gap between them seemed to widen. She told everyone to keep moving forward and not let this delay them. The group obeyed. Everyone was now in high spirits. One of the followers ran up, praising his big brother with great admiration, feeling that following him was the right choice. To be praised like that felt good. He felt a bit proud, but that quickly gave way to sadness. He solemnly said he was very sorry about Yan Li's death, but in this world, every moment holds hidden dangers. That's why I let you all go out. The goal wasn't just to collect crystals, but for you to train yourselves, so that you can save yourselves in a crisis. Chen Luo had taken the lives of those who harmed his teammate, but it seemed his anger still lingered. Then he spoke to the remaining people. Anyone who bullies an ally of Chen Luo will pay a heavy price. Hearing this, his followers felt a warmth spread through their hearts. After speaking, he smiled brightly and told everyone to gather the other group's supplies, and then they would all go home, to enjoy the food cooked by the pretty girls. The whole group shouted, "Yes, sir."